sound sound. Still starting with this mic, man. I still don't know what I'm doing with my microphone. It looks good. No, it actually looks good right now. This looks good. We just got to make sure it sounds good because I was looking back on my streams and there was a part in there where people were saying, "Yo, something's going on with your mic," and I was like, I thought everything was good, so I just got to make sure it's good. Let's make sure it's good. Let's get some ones in the chats if we sound good, so we can get this thing rolling on a Friday. This is something I also want to pick up from the last show. Potentially, we may do a little bit different. I thought about Fridays being the day where we do call-ins. I don't know that we're going to do that today, but maybe going forward, I think we're going to need that as well. Like, we're going to have to do some call-ins at some point because just like there's not a lot of stuff going on until training camp starts. But training camp's around the corner. And probably next week, any of these shows that we do, probably going to be training camp battles. Like, I think next week we start. I was going to start it this week. I talked to Rad. I was like, yo, training camp battles. And then I was like, nah, probably shouldn't start it yet because I really feel like once we get into it, like, we're going all the way. Like, it's not going to be, we're going to talk about one positional group. It's going to be everything all at once. So, yeah. Also, we got the little, we got the little thing going on here on the screen. It looks all right. I mean, there's a little bit of shades of yellow. If I didn't say that, you wouldn't have noticed it, probably. Free Rad. Hey, man, I've talked to Rad. I thought we'd get him on today. I really did. I thought we'd have Rad on today. But it doesn't sound like it's going to be today. However, I think it's going to be soon. Hey, we did have Rad somewhat recently. In the last couple of weeks, we had him on the other channel. We were playing Warzone. I mean, it was a disaster. It wasn't like it was maybe that entertaining. I mean, the first 45 minutes was trying to figure out how to make the game work. Plus, King was in there too. I mean, we had the, you know what I'm saying? Wait, we got the thing on the screen right now, man. It looks good. Call-ins would be fun. Absolutely. I'm going to open that up. We're going to do that at some point. I don't know that we'll do that today just because I think I want to do it more through like a call-in line versus having people join the stream because it'll get full and I think it'll throw off like all of the connection and stuff. So I don't want to do that. I think I'd rather just have like a straight call-in line. It'll be a little bit easier to kind of like navigate. So I think we'll drop that or we'll start that next week. But that's something I want to do. And I assume most people are going to do that. However, I do want to react to comments from our last live stream because it's been a few days. I don't think I went through them at all. So it'll be a perfect opportunity to just dive back into those at the end of this show, probably at the end of the show. Also, I don't know how long the show's going to be. I guess it just depends on how long it takes us to get through ranking quarterbacks. But before we get to that, the ranking quarterback segment, I came into this with a plan like, yo, I'm going to rank the quarterbacks, then we're going to go live. But as I got through it, and I think I kind of have a list that I like. I kind of like it. I don't love it. I like it. I feel like some of these I can move around, but I feel pretty good about it. Once I did that, I was like, man, we should use that thing that Rad showed me where you can do it live. Like you can actually just make the list by basically having two quarterbacks go against each other and you pick which one you'd rather have. I think that may be more entertaining. So we may do that. What's the story with the only slightly yellow screen though? Only slightly yellow? What you mean, man? Oh, the light over here? No, you're right about that. Hold up. Let me get my other light. Did that do nothing? Hold up. Did I do some... Wait a minute. Actually, the crazy thing is this is my best light too. I just got a different light bulb, so maybe that's what it is. It do look kind of weird. Okay. See, now you bring that up. Now it looks like it's like morning. You know what I mean? Good morning. All right, we got to stop. We got to get this thing going. Also, we're going to talk about one key player today. One key player. I think after we did like the overlooked players, I was like, yo, we should have did this. Or I don't want to put it like that. I should have included this player and I didn't. So it's a perfect opportunity because of where he's at right now for him to be like that developmental player that could be very key this upcoming season. Hopefully he's not, but he could be. So I wanted to just like spotlight one player and focus on him. I couldn't find enough players outside of this one to make this into a list. I know Nitain Mutai is a guy that we want to talk about over here eventually. I need a ring light. I have a ring light. Yo, I got all the different types of lights. I got like a big box light. I just don't have that one set up. I have a ring light. The ring thing I don't like with the ring light though, at least the one that I have, is it had like a section for your phone. I'm not using my phone, right? I'm using a camera, but maybe I could take that out. Look, I'm not savvy, Charles. Okay. I probably could just put my camera in there. Okay. First off, who's in the chat? My man, Sir Richard, number 2, baby. Okay, I see. I think you were number 1, though. Hold on. I think you were the first one in here. Whoa, new camera. No, it's not, but hey, it is looking good, though. That's okay. I'm on board with that. Also, I got to like upgrade this. That way the quality's better because we're not on OBS, which I usually stream on during the season. We're on StreamYard. That's why it's a little bit like less than what I can do. But at the same time, it's also very easy. And that's why I put this little graphic because I just think it looks kind of cool. Free rad call-ins will be fun. Okay, I got you. Hi, Dan. About to go on a cruise. Okay, Ryan, go on a cruise. I've never been on the cruise. Let me know how it is. Also, if you've already been on one, tell me what you're expecting because I think it would be fire. I think a cruise would be fire. Let me know. Is the cruise fire, chat? I don't know. But I do want to focus on like what the chat's asking, questions, things like that. Like if y'all got things, throw them in there and we'll talk about these things, but it doesn't have to be a set in stone as some of the other episodes that we do because I feel like on Friday it could be a little bit more opened up. So if you guys got things, we can discuss those. My man said it's Christian Mahogany or Iffy. It might be one of those two, but actually that's perfect for that. I'm glad that you couldn't tell by the thumbnail. Okay. That was just real quick before we get into this. That may have been one of the worst thumbnails of all time. Just throwing it out there. That was a disaster of a thumbnail. I was like, how do I do this? I know there's a way to like blank out the player. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not the thumbnail guy. Okay. So kind of looks like a disaster, but I think I covered up the player enough. I was like, I think you can tell that there's supposed to be a player there. There's not enough room. Maybe I got to change up the way I do my thumbnails for these. Maybe I have to do that. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, let's dive into this. And here's what I'm going to do before I reveal who the player is and we show some clips like we usually do. And I took a ton of notes, so I'm probably going to miss some things that I wrote down just because there's so much. Matthew Betts. There is a Matthew Betts video up, Ben. You've probably seen it. But there is. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check that one out. That video did really well for whatever reason. But a lot of you guys were hyped about Matthew Betts. So yes. And actually in our last live stream, I don't know if you were here or not, Ben, but if you were, if you saw it, then you know we discussed a lot of Matthew Betts. And I was like, hey, that could be a really good battle. Stay tuned for Matthew Betts when we get to the training camp battles, likely next week, because Matthew Betts is going to be a lot of the conversation there when we get to like James Houston, things like that. That came up a lot in our last show. Gave me a great like jump off place for an upcoming show. It's going to be Jamar Jefferson. Hey, Jamar Jefferson. Hey, you know what? There's a strong part of me, Jordy, that's like, yo, we got to do some sort of Jamar Jefferson thing. It's been in the back of my mind. Like, how do I get him into some list here? We're definitely going to give him some attention when we do these training camp battles. If he is a sleeper defensive MVP for me. I don't dislike that pick at all. It's kind of weird because like the things that we hear early, at least what I've heard, is like there's not as much hype around Ife Melifonwu. But my goodness, I mean, all it takes is just watching what he did when he played at safety. He was so good at safety. And actually, I've been watching back just random games from last season when he and Tracy Walker both stepped in as backup safeties this past season, and they both handled business. What game was that? I think that was Atlanta, where both of them started, and he was good in that game. Then obviously, second half, like he was outstanding. So what we may be hearing early practice is really hard to judge, especially without pads at this point. But bro, you just look at what he did last season. He was incredible. It's hard to like. I don't know. It's hard for me to not buy into just what I saw. And I don't know what to see how it all shakes out. There's going to be a lot of good competition there, but I don't hate that at all because if I've heard nothing this offseason and I just based on everything that we saw last year, I'd be on board for sure saying that Ife Melifonwu is about to get himself a really nice payday with the Lions. That's where I'd be at it. We need Antoine Greenlove. Antoine Greenlove is coming. I've tried to start that. The issue that I have is, again, getting clips outside of preseason. I had to kind of dive into that because really the only game that he played for us was Baltimore. I actually have some clips saved, so I can just throw them up randomly. But Baltimore, he played, I think, 28 snaps. It was pretty rough. But the Lions talked about how he got better throughout the season. I just don't think you can really find that through the All-22 as much as I've liked to this point. But I will say he blocked his butt off. Whenever that guy was in the game, did he block? All right, he was blocking extremely well. So I will give him some love there. R.I.P. Bolt. Okay, I don't know what that means, AB. I'm straight up. I don't know what that means, but I see you. Is that Brian Branch? Or is that Khalil Dorsey? Hold up. You got a Khalil Dorsey picture? If you do, I'm giving you a clap. I rock with Brian Branch. Branch is a dog. One of the best. But Khalil Dorsey, that's pretty fire. All right, let's do this. How big is JMO going to be for us? Well, okay, so this is the video that I would check out. I don't know if it was the Jameson Williams video or the Khalif Raymond video. I think it was the Khalif Raymond video. I think it was just the same thing. I did a Khalif Raymond video if you haven't seen it, where it was, I know they're all long, but it was Khalif Raymond and why I talked about like how he's that piece, right? He's so important. But a lot of it was also about Jameson Williams. Like most of the video was kind of a breakdown for Jameson. Chad, let me know. Was that 2 videos or what? I think it was the same video. It was like a breakdown for Jameson Williams heading into this season. and where I thought he needed to improve, those kind of things. But I've seen these things pop up on X, and I was even talking with Brad, like, yo, we should have a segment where we just read and react to things that we see on X now, because X is crazy. The amount of wild posts I see on there, the amount of ranking list. We could just have a 10-minute segment where we just scroll through there and just see what we find, because most of the people I follow are just posting Lions content. So that could be just a thing on its own. Maybe we'll have to do that. But Jameson Williams is in an ideal role to take off. Like, that's the way that I look at it. There's nothing in front of him from him not becoming a massive part of this offense. There's nobody stopping him from that being the case this upcoming season. All of the opportunities in front of him. And you speak about the early offseason love. He's been given a lot of it. I'm like, I don't think there's a roof to how much I think he could actually do for us this season. I think he could be incredible. I think at minimum he's putting up 700, 800 yards, but the peak that he could reach, I don't think there's a ceiling to that, because he started to open up so much of his route tree, become so diverse, that as long as he continues to become a diverse receiver within this offense, there's nothing that he can't do, specifically statistically for us. And we need that. We absolutely need that. Watching a ton of videos yesterday on Isaiah Williams. Got a great history rooting for the guy. He's short, but his heart is there. Yeah, Isaiah Williams I thought was going to get drafted. When I had like the list for the draft, I don't know where I had him, but I had him above a few guys that did get drafted. I thought he'd be a late round pick. Thought he would get drafted. Didn't get drafted. The guy that I knew really anything about before we took was him. He was like the one guy as UDFA that actually knew things about. Isaiah Williams. Yeah, Isaiah Williams was a dog in college, right? From the number that he wore, run after catch. I just thought his upside was so high. His upside was so high. It wasn't like it was all maybe technically there, but the upside's super high. And with the UDFA, that's exciting. It's just like, what role does he fit in, of course. But yeah, no, look, man, Isaiah Williams can make the team, no question, especially if they keep 6. To keep 6, he's probably the next guy up I bet on, but we'll see. What happened to Dylan Drummond? Dang, Drummond did do some work. He's not here anymore, though. I don't know. That's actually a good question. Drummond did do some work, though. Hey, he did. Okay. How much Rod Wood is charging for tickets? You know, it's that supply and demand kind of. Hey, everybody wants tickets. Lions taking advantage of it, I feel like. But you're right. They're crazy. Just a couple years ago, I mean, the tickets, like it's like, okay, obviously you'd rather have the great team, right, than a team that's really bad, so you're getting in cheap. But man, it is kind of fun to go to a game and the tickets aren't, the tickets are similar to the parking tickets. Now it's like back to like, hey, parking tickets $50. That's cheap. Okay, it's cheap to park now versus the actual ticket of the game. I'm cool with it. Like, I'm good with not going to games, but I definitely want to go to a playoff environment at some point. But I'm with you, man. They're insane. No, they're insane. J-Mo, love that guy. Okay, Jordy, my man Jordy says, I've seen a lot of stuff complaining about O-line depth. Am I crazy for thinking we're pretty good there? I think people's expectations of 3 starter level back is a bit much. Yeah, I think everybody would love that. And I don't think it's realistic for anybody to have that. So this is the only part that I could point to and making a slight agreement there is, for years, you guys know I've wanted backup tackle. I've wanted us to really solidify what our backup offensive tackle is, who it is. And I feel like a lot of years this has kind of been like a revolving door. I mean, it's been Matt Nelson for the most part. Now it's Dan Skipper. You still don't feel like maybe you have that guy that you just kind of know, large sample size. He's a great backup swing tackle. Obina Eze, we never really put a draft pick to that guy. We draft Manu. It's like, oh, he's probably going to play guard. So I still don't feel like we've really invested in that position necessarily, like maybe the way that I've wanted to. That being said, though, to flip it around and give credit to the Lions, I feel like they've also still looked at this from a long-term view. And in fairness, when they've had these guys step in, like Matt Nelson got better, Dan Skipper got a lot better. I think the guy was playing guard for us. They've made it work with their backup tackles. Penei Sewell helps us a ton because he just makes it work. But if you go back to the first season, it was a disaster. Like, you go back to year 1, it was a disaster. It killed our offense. Now where we're at is the rest of the roster and the development that's been there. I think we've gotten to a point where we've really been able to kind of minimize how much you actually notice that. So to bring this back again, I was watching the Atlanta game. And in that Atlanta game, I think it was Atlanta, we played 3 right tackles. So we came in without Taylor Decker. We started Matt Nelson. Matt Nelson came out. I think he was injured. Then we brought in, was it Dan Skipper or Sorsdal? Both of those guys played. We played 3 offensive tackles coming in without the starting tackle. And we were able to win that game. Now, it was an impact. You felt it. But they've been able to hide that, I think, a little bit more. I think everybody would love to have that great depth there. But I feel like with offensive line, they've taken the approach of just really leaning on their development, which gets me to the first point of who this player is going to be. Heard Sorsdal playing multiple positions, but how good is he at each one? Brent, you come to the right place. So let me start with this. The key player, I'm not going to say who it is yet. I'm not going to say who it is that. The key player, okay? And I want to say this because this is something I thought about, and I haven't discussed it before. Maybe others have. I think it's interesting that the Lions draft 2 offensive linemen this year after Hank Fraley. You know, I've heard a lot of buzz. This could be his last year with the Lions. I don't know if that's true or not. I hope it's not. But there's a lot of buzz that it could be his final year with the Lions as their offensive line coach. Again, I'm not like breaking news or something. I've just heard it. If that's really going to be the case, okay, it would make a lot of sense to go add 2 offensive linemen into that mix for the final year of Hank Fraley. Like, yo, get everything you can out of Hank Fraley before he leaves. You know the value that he adds. Let's get some guys in here. Let them learn from him before this dude potentially leaves. I'm not saying he's going to leave, okay? Again, I'm not like coming up with news or something. I don't know. I've just heard things like that. So if that is the case, it feels like there was a real value to like, yo, get 2 more offensive linemen in here. Let's go draft a couple offensive linemen because we don't know. And if he has a chance to learn from this guy, awesome. That's what I've heard. That's what people have sent me. So I don't know if it's the case. I guess we'll just say. Pride Detroit reported Manu playing at tackle rather than guard. Kind of surprised by that. Well, I mean, then I guess it would just deter. The thing is, like Manu we talked about was, I think if you look at it from a long-term approach, it's almost, who did we talk about last show? I don't remember who it was last show, but we talked about another guy. Oh, it was Mekhi Wingo. And it was like, yo, if Mekhi Wingo makes an impact this year, where can it be? And I was like, I could see it definitely being on the interior because he's done that. He's undersized, give us some sub-package depth. But a long-term defensive end, I think, is what the view is. That could be the case with Manu, too. I think Manu, you know, there could be a world in which they do view that tackle long-term. He's obviously built to do that. He played that. But it was just really messy. But in the short term, what could he quicker transition to? I would say that's guard. I think he looks like a guard by the way that he plays. But if they say, but I think that whole draft pick is saying that this is not what it's going to be this year. Hank Fraley's here for another year. We're making this pick for what he's going to be in the future. This is not like, yo, this year, hopefully we'll need you. I don't look at it like that. So here's actually something, and I don't think did I hear that? Oh yeah, I did hear this. So I was watching I always just watch random old drafts for some reason. And I was watching a draft, and we drafted the guy that we're going to talk about, and that's going to be this key player. And he talked about the offensive line, and he said that, you know, hey, I appreciate you, King. Hey, he said some people look at the offensive, like a certain offensive line when you draft them, specifically in day 3, and there will be scouts that'll go, hey, this guy down the road could be a starter. You're drafting him to potentially be a starter. And then there's the flip side where a lot of teams will have that buzz of like, okay, this could be a long-term backup. But a lot of times from this guy, I don't know if this is true or not, he was like, yo, there can be that split. And the player we're going to talk about falls into that first category versus a guy like Mahogany, where I could see him falling more into that second category, where maybe it's not like he becomes a starter. I'm not saying he can't. I don't want to cap him. But if he was like a long-term backup guard, that could make a lot of sense. And it's like, hey, maybe you're a little bit closer to that ceiling. You have legitimate limitations in your game, but what you're good at, and we can kind of lean on that when you have to step in, and then you have to add some flexibility to the table. But the guys that can become starters, think Manu, for example, even though I think Manu's a little bit of an extreme here, it's like there's a lot to work on, but the athletic talent, the traits, a lot of things that we focus on primarily for a guy that can become an offensive lineman, for an offensive lineman that you draft, those boxes he does check. It's just about all the technical stuff we really got to clean up. I mean, it's a completely different game, especially in terms of play speed. So the player that we're talking about here was apparently considered to be more into that first category of a guy that was believed that a lot of teams around the league thought, hey, don't know about long-term backup, but instead some teams believe that this could actually turn into a starter down the road. So that's the player we're going to talk about. Colby Sorsdal. Hey, whoever said Colby Sorsdal, you came to the right place, man. We're going to dive into some Colby Sorsdal here. We have not talked nearly enough about Colby Sorsdal. We did the show talking about overlooked players and additions, and I threw Manu in there. We did the full breakdown video on Christian Mahogany already, so that's already up. Go check that out. But a guy that I have not given much attention to since last season is Colby Sorsdal, and he played in 5 games last season. He played right tackle, left guard, right guard, played all over the place. Statistically, it was rough, right? I think it was 14 pressures on, let me get the exact stats here. I had it wrote down. It was 253 snaps, 14 pressures, and 1 sack. And the issue with that is only 132 of the snaps were pass sets. So it was a pretty high pressure rate that he was allowing. It was not great, but he played everywhere along the offensive line. And I think he's the guy, right, depending on where Manu's at. Because, again, even if Manu's playing tackle, I would love for it to be the case. But if he is, I wouldn't expect it to be ready right away that he could step in and play tackle. Dan Skipper has really improved that tackle. I actually feel pretty good about him stepping in after seeing the very limited sample size last season, but it was so limited. But Colby's that guy that's already shown us, like, yeah, I can play everywhere. It feels like there's no cap to what man said on the ceiling in terms of where they feel like they can align this guy out, maybe outside of center. He's 6'5". He's over 6'5", and he was playing guard, even though I thought that led to some issues. 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands, just a little bit on the shorter side, but he's capable of playing tackle. Of course, he played tackle 46 games in college at William & Mary, team captain. And I think he's the player that gets overlooked here, because if he takes that second jump, second year with Hank Fraley, depending on if it's his last year or not, if he takes that jump, he could become incredibly important for the Lions. Like, we have the Coyotes, right? We have guys that feel like, okay, that's a nice backup. Like Dan Skipper to me, like, hey, Dan Skipper, I don't think he'll be a starter on the ground. Okay. I don't think it'll happen. I would love for it to happen. I'm not trying to like just block him out from that being the case. But I don't really see it right now that there's a path to that. I don't really see a great path to KO becoming a starter. Someone that you envision is like, well, that's the guy that we could play. Colby feels like he has that ability. And that's what was talked about when he was drafted. And then when I went back and watched those 5 games, there were differences just in halves. But the biggest thing that stood out was that what we thought about Colby coming out the draft felt like you saw it in the NFL, at very least in flashes. It was like the good things about Colby showed up. And that always gets me optimistic. Like, it's there. It's not like you drafted him, you expected one thing, and he can't even give you that. Now you're like, okay, I don't know if this is going to translate. From a guy that was from a small school, the things that he did well, at very least in flashes, but I thought at a pretty high rate, a lot of those things seemingly translated to the NFL. And he found it and eventually found a way to make it work at multiple positions. Now, there was like the Green Bay Packers game where he's playing left guard. And he played Chicago at left guard the game before. In Chicago, we'll show some examples. I thought first step, the second half, he was like a completely different guy. It's like as that game went on, it's like, okay, he's figuring this out. Then we play Green Bay, and the inconsistent anchor just got him into trouble, I felt like. And he got good interior players. Devontae White hasn't really connected, but specifically Kenny Clark. It was bad. And he actually got subbed out. If you guys remember, they switched to, I think, Dan Skipper at the second half. They're like, okay, this is not working. If you guys remember, that was just a bad game overall. Graham Glasgow had a really rough game against those interior guys. One of Graham's worst games. I think, what do you allow, like 9 pressures or something? That feels too high. Maybe it was like 6. It was bad. It was rough. But you still saw the flashes there. And even at right tackle in Atlanta, where we're saying he's a guard. And then he goes to Atlanta in week 3, and it's like, put him in at right tackle. We're flying through right tackles. Colby had to step in. He finished it. And it was like, okay, there's still things here that you like. So that's the guy I want to talk about today. I'm going to show some clips of Colby as we talk about this. Let me see what the chat's saying. I'm the big Colby fan. Brent, I'm glad you're here, man. This is actually perfect. The fact that someone brought up Colby Sorsdal, I don't think anybody's in the chat brought up Colby Sorsdal in these 4 episodes yet. You brought it up today, which is beautiful. It's meant to be. What about TJ Lang as the new offensive line coach? I love TJ Lang, man. From what I know, from the little that I know of TJ Lang in terms of like meeting him, TJ Lang's awesome, man. So I'm on board with it. I'm on board if he wants to. I don't know if he wants to. I think he's doing his thing right now on the media side, but love that he never gives up on plays, always fighting and clawing. This is absolutely true. If Colby could take a step, he'd be a dog. And this could be necessary as I move to the clips here, because obviously this season, if we needed a guy to step in at tackle, it's a very small sample size that we've seen from Dan Skipper. But what I said before was this. While I've had questions like, hey, why not go sign the veteran offensive tackle to swing and play both positions? The Lions have leaned on being okay with, like, we're going to trust the development here. Like, the development's going to be here. We're going to try to keep that continuity. We're going to give you reps. And even though it was really shaky in the first year we had to go to, and it would have been like, man, it would have been great to have a different backup tackle, but it rolled with it. And Matt Nelson got better. Dan Skipper has gotten better. They've given opportunities. It's kind of like with JMO, just in a different degree. The opportunities are there. And now Colby going to year 2, he has those opportunities. And I do think Colby Sorsdal could legitimately make an impact at tackle this year. We know we viewed him as a guard because Dan Skipper, with that low sample size, while I like where he's gotten to, it was a very small sample size. If he's struggling, and by the way, Dan Skippers went from like a guy that certain plays like, yo, he didn't even get off the line of scrimmage to like, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. But you got a very small sample size there with the guy that you're kind of trusting as your backup tackle, because outside of that, it's Manu as a rookie that has a long way to go, it feels like, from the outside looking in. And not a lot else in terms of proven. This is the guy that could do that. Interior offensive line, right? Colby Sorsdal. I wouldn't even make the case he was our best interior lineman when he had to step in last season. But this year, could he be? I think it's on the table. I think it's on the table that he could be our best backup interior offensive lineman. And we got some age on the interior. So that versatility could be very necessary, especially going forward when evaluating, like, yo, could this guy potentially, could he start down the road? I mean, we think Manu's going to be the starter. Maybe Mahogany becomes the starter. But if Mahogany is viewed at, and I'm not saying they view it like this, but if he is looked at like, okay, he's a nice little backup piece, and that's what he is, that's awesome. Colby Sorsdal is an upside to start. So he could mean a lot actually going forward as well. And he could show a lot of that this year, not only through training camp, but also on the field, because we know that injuries happen. So I'm saying a lot. Let me show some clips. If he has to go in for Sewell, can he catch? That's actually a good question. I don't know. Yeah, no, that's something they got to figure out. Like, do we still have that ability, right, if he's in the game, to do some trick plays? That's a good question. Hey, I don't know. That's something I'll have to, maybe he has a little bit of background there. I don't know. The Lions got like hidden clips of him making some grabs. Maybe. I don't know. I like that question though. Okay. I don't know what this view is. Hold up. We got to stop with this. I clicked the button. Not sure what we're looking at here. You can see one of my eyes. Okay. Bam. Bam. And I'm going to do my best to not make this incredibly boring. I don't think these are boring. I have fun with this, but I don't think it's going to be boring. I got a lot of notes. So I'm just going to show some plays. We'll kind of fly through some, let some others stop so I can point out things that stuck on me. Who do you think starts at nickel? So, we've heard early like a Meek could. I think he's capable. I don't know that I feel like that's his best spot from what I've seen so far, but the breakdown hasn't come out yet, so that could change. But he had some good games, especially against guys like Keenan Allen. I think I would be a little bit surprised if Rakestraw started. I would, but I think Rakestraw is a dog. I got the jersey. I already got the jersey for Rakestraw. I think he's a dog. But I think, this is why this is difficult for me, because I think there's a real world in which the Lions say we want the best on the field. The best on the field is Brian Branch at safety, and it's either Rakestraw or it's specifically probably a Meek in the slot. Like, that's their best on the field. I could see them looking at it like that, and I would understand it. I absolutely would. That being said, though, I still really like what we have in Kirby, and I really like what we have in Iffy, and I could see where training camp shakes itself out. Those guys are balling, and all the early thoughts that we have and early projections, it's just like, wait a minute. We might have been just overthinking this a little bit. Iffy and Kirby are legit. And if they're playing well, Kirby's healthy, Brian Branch gets to the point where it's like, dude, we know Brian Branch is a dog in a slot. He's not coming off the field as long as he's healthy, so that he'll start there. So I'm actually going to bet by the time the season starts, it'll be Brian Branch. But Amik would be my next best bet. Okay, agreed. Sorsdal at tackle. I think it's possible. And in this first game, this is where we saw him, right? So a lot of the questions were about the length. Right, those were questions. And I think one thing that's interesting, especially when we get to some of these left guard clips, was like the footwork changes, right? We always hear guys talk about like footwork changes when you're on the left side of the offensive line versus the right side. And I thought we saw that specifically in his first game going to left guard. It was like, okay, this looks kind of shaky, but then it settled in and it looked better. Can J-Mo help Goff get 5,000 yards? If Goff's going to get 5,000, he's going to need a lot of help out of J-Mo. He's going to need a lot of run after catch. that's for sure. Do we want Goff to hit 5,000? Yeah, because it'd be pretty amazing. But also the flip side might mean we're trailing a lot. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So if he's going to hit 5,000, J-Mo probably needs to go like 1,200. Probably needs to go like 1,200 because Laporta in a perfect world could probably give you 900 to 1,000. He could probably hit 1,000. St. Brown could give you 1,500, 1,600, 1,700. So you'd probably need at least $1,000 from Jameson, I think, in that world. You need him to just become that dude because Khalif Raymond, very reliable. Love me some Khalif Raymond. But there's certain games where he'll be less impactful than others. But he can route run. J-Mo has that ability to just win, I think, against every matchup. I think he can win in every game. You can just find ways for him to win. So, yeah, J-Mo would have to become that dude. First time in years, 2 DBs go down with injury, season won't be over. Hey, let's give him some credit. Let's give him some credit, though. They did make it work. I mean, it was a patch, but they did make it work last season with all – because – fair. I mean, to be fair, Mosley was supposed to be here and he wasn't. We knew that there was going to be recovery time, but by the time he came back, he never really played for us. So that would be one, even though it's a little bit. That would be one. And then you also had who was the other one? I'm missing one. Well, Jerry Jacobs missed some time, right? But at one point, I mean, you had Kendall Vilder as your starter on the opposite side. You had Khalil Dorsey at times. So they patched it together in the playoffs where Vilder was serviceable, I thought. I mean, for where we were at, but you're right. Like now the exciting part will be when those backups step in. You're like, Could this be his chance to just like take somebody's job? Like, it feels like that upside is there. He could take somebody's job. It's not just like this guy's playing and it's like, all right, let's just get by here. There's real upside to take somebody's spot long term. No way I just swooped up the Gibbs black and blue jersey. The jerseys do look fire. They've been posting those on X. Those look good because he's going to blow up this year. Top running back, hands down. Look out for those catching TDs. I love that. Let's keep adding that element to his game. And I'm going to start here with some of the right tackle hits. Just point out some things that stuck out to me. Because at right tackle, he definitely looked natural, right? The get off into that kick slide. And this was one issue for sure that popped up, was just oversetting as an offensive tackle. And I think this will pop up like certain times when you watch him. I thought it showed up definitely at guard. You know, the way that he creates his anchor by kind of getting wide rather than like consistent knee bend. It feels like he starts to waist bend as a run blocker at times. Or even times like this where he feels like he's sliding in pass protection. He just kind of oversets. His hands... I think this is just my perspective. His hand usage, if that timing improves, the speed at which he gets his hands on guys, the patience tied along with it. Like, I felt like they're, especially at guard, because you guys know at guard things are happening fast. And this is why I think at tackle, like, there could be some real upside here. But at guard, things are going to happen really fast. It's like kind of playing the between game of like, okay, when do I be patient and really play into that versus when do I need to get aggressive and get up on guys? So what I said, one thing that we've seen is that a lot of the things that we liked in college, I thought we saw these flashes translate to the NFL. One thing, if you go back to the Colby Sorsdal video, was I talked about jump setting guys, like getting in their chest quickly, getting up on guys. And I was like, that could help him transition to guard because we kind of knew about that when we drafted him. And I think we saw that. Like, there was examples of him getting up on guys very quickly, controlling the rep early. And what I do like about his hand usage is that he consistently resets his hands, though I think he can improve that process a little bit. Here's a run blocker on the edge. This is something that we also saw as well. His entry angles, he actually did some good things in terms of the entry point, like sealing off the edge in these spots. One thing just in general, when you watch Colby, especially as a guard, it just feels like, yo, we got to get him stronger. Like, he needs to be stronger functionally. Core strength needs to improve here. You see the hips, right? You see the hips that work. He's able to play with leverage. He's able to move and kind of ride guys with his hand. But it's like, we feel like we just got to get him a little bit stronger to stick at guard. At tackle, I don't feel like that's as noticeable personally. The drive, like, he has the technique to just drive guys. Obviously, he was a good mover. Like, if you go back to coming out of the draft and you look at the athletic traits, good agility, good speed, specifically once he got going, not necessarily like the burst, but good speed once he got going specifically. And some of these Atlanta clips, a lot of these are just kind of good clips here. We'll talk about the bad as we go through this as well. We knew that this is where he was natural, is plays like this coming out of college, because he can go. And it's really about that first step, getting off the line of time, because at left guard at first, it was like he's getting off slow here. And then it started to pick up. And you can see like he creates leverage. He's able to position, carry over the block. He has good flexibility, which you like as well, with control. There's a lot of things that made sense to put him at guard. So now we go to New Orleans Saints. Now he's playing at right guard. CJ, GJ. Okay, I think you were talking about the cornerback thing. That's one too. We missed him for a ton. 5,000 yards for golf means we cooking, baby. Coach, fourth quarter, we up by 21 going up. Yeah, that would be great. No, I'm on board with it. A 5K pass would be beautiful. And let's also make sure that the Bears don't hit 4K. Like, if that's the thing, Bears still don't hit 4,000. We hit 5,000. It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing, especially to hit that number against Chicago, which I don't think would make any sense. But, you know, I'm just kind of throwing things out here. Respect. Look, there's a lot of good in here. Now, there's a lot of bad too. Trust me on that. But I'm going to show you a lot of good as well. And this is what I was talking about. Like, these things translate immediately, right? That get off, getting the inside hand, which is something, the entry angles. You'll see this in pass protection when he jump sets guys, that kind of inside hand. There's a lot of things to like there as well. You see him in pass protection here at right guard. This is kind of that example of getting up on the defensive tackle that I was talking about. I think this is a good example of it. Boom, watch this. Get up on it. Boom, right? That inside hand. And then when you watch him, you see him reset his hands. Now, the issue that I see with Colby is that when he resets his hands, there's too many examples where both hands come off the defensive lineman. Like, he doesn't stay latched with one and reset the other one. It's not that consistent. You get a lot of examples where he kind of, both hands get dropped off. Now he's trying to find it again. And that's when you get way too much separation. Things are just happening too fast. It doesn't take a lot for a defensive tackle to get an edge. And once he gets there, it's very hard as a guard to recover. Like, as a tackle, a guy gets in it, right? You can open up. You can try to just press him out of the pocket. As a guard, once he gets the edge, especially with a guy like Goff, like, you get that penetration. Now it's like, okay, now he's just got to move. Like, he immediately has to get out of the pocket because you lost on the play and you just gave up the edge. And that's one thing that I noticed with his hand usage, like that process of resetting himself. But you still see the footwork and that ability, like here, getting up to the second level. We saw this in college. Very capable getting up to the second level, being natural there. I did feel like his pace was a little bit hit and miss. Like he'd be like overly aggressive at times, or other times like he wasn't getting that connection, his angles like he would want to, but he still saw the athleticism to get up there, which was nice. Okay, we're gonna go. Okay, we're still staying with the Saints game here. See, this is what I'm talking about too. And this was another one. This was awareness. This is where I thought it was going. Awareness. This is something that also feels like with time, especially at guard, right? Again, things are happening fast. Like awareness of like how fast I need to pass off stunts. Like a stunt is coming on this play. He's rushing this direction. I need to quickly get this thing passed off, because you see the movement skills. You see the ability to drop himself open. See the ability to stay leveraged. See the ability to ride the hip. That shows up as a zone blocker. It's kind of like the same thing that you see there as well. Here's kind of that drive blocking technique that we see. He's able to get wide, stay wide in his base, get the inside punch. He's able to create that downhill drive at the line to create that double team. That's something that he's very capable of as well. He's showed a lot of, even showed that flash in pass protection. You can see his hands a little bit high here. Hands a little bit high here. But what I liked with the really Chicago game in the second half, which is where I thought he kind of dialed in, it was, again, finding that patience, but also the aggressiveness. You see how his hands come in real wide? They come in real wide. It feels like it takes too long, where it's not like instant, boom, stiff punch in the chest. Let's throw off this rep. Didn't feel like he was doing that enough. Things would come in wide. But even here, right, he's staying balanced underneath, keeping some bend, being able to stay in front of him here. Yeah, I'm so hyped for a secondary. If Arnold goes off this year, I also got to snag a jersey. Yeah, I if I was a betting man, I'd bet on it. Arnold's going to be really good. He's going to be really good. And so we were watching. I was showing Dose of Dad. I was showing him some clips from Carlton Davis yesterday. And one of the shorts, which actually did pretty well, shout out to you guys. One of the shorts that we did, I got to do more of these shorts because I have the thing that does it, is I showed that little thing like Carlton Davis statistically and against man coverage and how crazy it was. And I was watching a podcast. Does that even make sense? I guess you're watching this. Anyway, it was Move the Sticks. I like to listen to them. And they talked about the Lions secondary. I don't know if you guys saw that. So actually, by the way, it's out right now. The PFF, I think their full rankings are out right now, unless there's something I missed here. Someone posted this. Lions running back room is ranked number 3. We saw a lot of these. Running back room is ranked 3. Receiving core is ranked 7. That took into account tight ends, running backs. Offensive line, they ranked number 1 in the NFL, which is not the only place to do that. I think, what was it? Michael Banks sent me one as well, where someone ranked us number 1 as the offensive line in the NFL. Defensive line, they had us at 4, which is probably the biggest shocker, if you would ask me, because I just wouldn't have expected that. But we just did a Davenport video, so that's worth checking out to that. Linebacker was at 22. I haven't seen that article. I'd be willing to read it, though, but I also understand, like, that makes sense, because a lot of it is, like, where does Jack Campbell go? I mean, I know what I'm going to get out of Duracell, and that dude's a playmaker. He's consistent. You know his weaknesses, but he's very smart. He plays fast. It's where does Jack Campbell go? That's the guy that's going to raise the roof there. But I think it's also fair to throw Derek Barnes because he's grown so much. And then secondary, they had us ranked 11, which I saw a lot of people talking about this yesterday, is having secondary ranked at 11 for the Lions was like really nice to see, because I don't know where we've ranked in the past. That may be actually more worth looking up. Like, where have we been in the past versus being ranked 11? Because if I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if we were never really anywhere near that. But now you have guys like, you have a proven guy in Carlton Davis in man coverage, and you also have like two legitimate draft picks put there. And I think a lot of people actually like Rakestraw more than where he went. I know I did. Dan Skipper need to get in the weight room. Yeah, Dan Skipper is like Dan Skipper's just different, dude. Like, what is he, 6'10"? I mean, he's just built different. Also, random thought, how good can DPJ be this year? How good can he be? DPJ can be really good as long as he does what we expect of him. Like, to me, it's kind of like I said with Colby here, where it's like, and we're going to continue with this, where it's like, you know, certain things that you hope that would translated. Donovan Peoples-Jones will be at his best, to me, not if he goes for 700 yards necessarily. I mean, that'd be amazing, but it also would probably mean that guys are just missing time. If he just dominates in the role that we need him to dominate, like, he needs to excel at what he does well, to the point where the Lions have just tons of trust in putting him in certain spots because they know that's what they want to get to. Like, it's the point where it's like one-on-one, we want a deep out route. Peoples-Jones, you got to go do that. Just separate at the top. We want a deep dig route. That's you. That's you. You got to just excel in your role. Like, hey, beat the guy off the release. Because honestly, every time he was one-on-one off the release, there was a lot of good last season. Small sample size, a lot of good. And we needed that. We needed a guy that was really good off the release. He was able to beat the press. Just excel in that role. I don't need big stats. Excel in that role that we can trust you when we go to certain looks offensively and you force yourself on the field. Because last year, it felt like just trying to kind of bring him along. Let's also maybe find a red zone role for him. That's something that hasn't really been opened up for the Lions, is what can he do once you get inside the 10, inside the 20? And that's something where, usually the Lions go to is like, hey, let's sit St. Brown down like right on the line and let's just throw it down and away from everybody else. Donovan Peoples-Jones can do that just in a much different way, where it's almost like, hey, just throw it away from everybody else. Throw it towards the sideline. Let him use his awesome footwork, incredible explosiveness, and leaping ability, and let him rack up touchdowns there. Like, just be great at what you're supposed to be great at. That's where I think he'll bring that biggest element. But probably red zone scoring is where he can open a lot of things up. My guy, Lawrence Payne on set. How you doing? We've never been ranked that high. Even in the Sioux years, we weren't ranked that high. Okay, are you talking about for defensive line? That's actually insane. That's actually crazy, because when we had like Ziggy, or I think Ziggy was after Cliff, right? Or did they have some? There had to be some overlap there, because when you had Cliff, Sue, that was nasty. And then Cliff obviously got the big deal with Seattle, but it was really his last year that Cliff became that dude, because then you had Van Den Bosch in the mix. You had the other first-round pick. So I would assume that when we took my man out of Auburn, can't think of his name, Nick Fairley, that there was probably a lot of buzz around the defensive line if PFF was doing it back then. That would have been like, 2011, something, 2013, something like that. Like, when we probably first got Nick Fairley, there was probably a lot of buzz. I don't know that it ever really lived up to where they took him, but to think about those two together on paper, like, that's insane, dude. Okay, you got those two together. My man Speakeasy's in the building. Easy, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I've watched some of your clips recently. Good stuff. Oh, you guys have Mita Kimes on there. That was pretty fire. I saw that. Don't agree. We don't need to go down that rabbit. I mean, actually, I guess we are, because we're about to talk about quarterbacks. It's all good though. Good collab. Love to see it. All right, I'll continue here a little bit. So again, this was the matchup, right? It was Kenny Clark, and this is something that is specifically as a guard. Like, I feel like it's different at tackle, because you can play with that like leverage when you're talking about like being able to set a firm, strong anchor. That initial point of attack was just way too inconsistent for Colby Sorsdal this past season. I thought for multiple reasons, again, his hands come out real wide, trying to get that initial punch. And then what really excelled was his ability to create the anchor as the rep rolled on, being able to reset his hands. But that initial point of attack, there was a lot of knockback that took place. And I thought there was just guys like Kenny Clark, which just took advantage of that, to be completely honest with you. Miss you. I miss you too, Easy. We got to get you back on here, man. We gotta link up and do another show, man. It's actually been a long time. Since the draft, have we done anything since the draft? I don't even know. It's been way too darn long. You're right about that. Okay, yeah, back in pass protection here, and this is the thing. Like, part of this you like, part of this you don't like, right? Again, you could see the ability to open up, turn and run. It feels a little bit more natural from tackle. I'm in Canada. Do I call you speak easied? Okay, hold up. That's something I'm just not aware of, to be honest with you. You guys need another live stream? No, we do. I don't know when the last one was. It has been a minute though. Okay, yeah. So continuing with this Packers stuff, I'm just gonna kind of let some of this roll in the back end, and I'll also pull some of my notes here. That way, I'm not missing some of this. And he's still at left guard. This was a left guard game for him. Again, it was rough. He actually got taken out in the second half, but there were still good things that you saw in here. So this will be like one good example, right? Where we talk about the down blocking, the technique was there, the ability to get off the line. Here on the defensive tackle, you can see that, the form, the entry point, noticing the second level. Just awareness in general, I thought just need to be faster. Like switching off stunts. Noticing the linebackers getting downhill. Like, we got to make that process faster. But some of that was also, I thought, the inability to get movement on the interior and then get up to the second level. Like, he had to focus on trying to create movement because he wasn't creating that drive, which would allow him to get up to the second level fast enough. So it just slowed down his entire process. A lot of ways, again, just getting stronger in certain spots there. But also, again, the footwork as well. Like, when the footwork's on point, a lot of things look good. When the footwork was there, a lot of things look good initially in that kind of jolt. But then even here, like, he got to the second level. And I don't want to say that he doesn't show the core strength, because he's shown ability to do this, but he also shows like getting a little bit tall on some of these. And then also, again, some of the base. It's not rare. You would see his base get a little bit narrow, especially for an interior guy. You kind of want him to play like a, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, if you watch Zeitler, you'll see it. We also should have the Zeitler video coming soon. That's something that's not here yet, but it should be coming soon. Again, back at guard. So is this Slayton? Actually, this might be Slayton here. So this kind of what I talk about the hands thing. Like, it's kind of playing that in-between game a little bit, where he's in that set, and it's like, all right, do we want to get in his chest? The guy has 33-inch arms, all right? They're not long arms, but especially for guard, it's very reasonable. But I think a lot of that can be improved. He can look a lot longer by how he positions himself, how he enters himself into these blocks, by the timing of these punches, right? Like right here where it feels like, okay, he's kind of leaning a little bit. He's kind of lunging and throwing his hands. You're not creating the length that he actually has when you watch him in pass protection, right? That's the big thing, is it doesn't always show up because I don't think he always plays to it, especially at guard. But As you see right here, you can see the awareness pre-snap. That was something that was very noticeable. A lot of a pre-snap awareness. Like the football intelligence seems to be there. It's just like playing faster as a guard just in general probably just needs to improve. So we'll move on now. We'll go to the Atlanta game. This is Chicago. And again, this one wasn't a great start for me. But as this game went on, man, this is where I was like, okay, I could almost just take the second half of Chicago and be like, I'm interested. I'm very interested and intrigued because what he did in the second half, the way that he improved. And now here's the thing, there's levels, right? There's levels in the NFL. You go against a guy like Kenny Clark, he's like, yo, that anchor is not great. It's not firm at the point of attack. I'm going to make you recover all day. They're going to give you problems. They're going to get you lunging, right? You're not playing underneath yourself. You go to Chicago, right? He's dealing with Zach Pickens. It's just different. And I like Zach Pickens coming out of South Carolina. But this was a game where it was rough. It felt like it was just a little bit unnatural. But as the game went on, he kind of settled in. And when you watch, like, there was some rough reps still in the second half, like run blocking, things like that. But for the most part, there was so much good. It was like, yo, this is really looking sound. And he's actually handling some business here. So this is a game that I really want to focus on. She's a Seahawks fan. Mina Kimes. That same Mina said our offense would suck last year because we didn't have DJ. Hey, DJ was nice, though. In fairness, DJ was nice. DJ was nice. But Jameson Williams, like that's as Easy just said, they spoon-fed Jamal Williams 1,000 yards. She was tripping. Yeah, look, man, I just think that whole conversation kind of goes back to what's been kind of the Lions like motto. It's like they move off a guy and I'm like, I don't know about this offense. I don't know what we're doing. And then it's like, well, we have this other guy, like he's going to have the opportunity to take over a role. And they just buy into it and they believe in it. And the guy does. And it's like, okay, it better work. But that's also building through the draft. Like that's how you build through the draft. You can't build through the draft and not trust your guys that you invested in. It makes sense. It's the same thing that we just said that they're doing at tackle too. But again, some of these things that we expected to carry over have carried over, and you can see the movement, right? You can see the hips. You can see him setting over these defensive tackles on the play. You can see him sealing up these blocks. Here on the double team again, look at the entry angle here, and then he's able to stick with it on the play. You love that control. Like in places like this, it's where it gets awkward. It's where recovery gets awkward, and he has the hips to just be like, okay, I could reset myself. Let me get my hands on. There's a lot of control as an offensive lineman. I think that's why the Lions probably really liked him a lot because, again, traits were there. Even if everything's not clean, smaller school, if the traits are there, we're going to like it. And then you get into the spot where you talk about patience. Like, patience was massive. And it was just kind of finding that in between where it's like right here. Instead of lunging, right, taking that shot and lunging, he's going to stay patient, stay underneath himself before he uses his hands. Now, all of a sudden, his length looks pretty good. Like, hey, it ain't bad. And then when he passed it off very quickly, you see that awareness, boom, pass that off. Like, this was really nice here. Then he's able to settle into this next defensive tackle. And I think that was DJ Jones, a good defensive tackle. Here he is against Zach Pickens. Now, you get the double team here, and this is where he loses him late on the play. I think it's the point that I just made earlier. Wants to get that inside hand, but as things get forced to reset, right, that process, both hands come off. He doesn't keep latch with one. I think just in general, almost like the grip strength, to latch that initial point of attack needs to improve. Like this, for example, where it doesn't immediately latch, and then you get to the spot where he gets off the block and both of his hands drop off. Now, all of a sudden, you get him cleared out. He's spinning around. He's trying to figure out where he's at. Like, that's the thing that just in general, technically, I think could be improved. Here you got him lunging on the play, and I thought some of this was like, yo, footwork off the line, right? Just, again, you're on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. It's not something he's necessarily used to. Wide base. He's lunging to get this contact. And this happens to everybody, though. I've seen that happen with Zeitler, especially short yardage. It happens a ton. But then you get a rep like this. This is what I'm talking about. Like, you're not seeing Kenny Clark here, right? And again, while that initial, like, firm, boom, base, he's jolted back. That's not great. It happened in college. But the way that he resets on this play with Pickens, hand usage, continues to fight himself inside, stays wide. Look how wide that base is. Now he's in his chest, tries to get up, punches him out of the play. Like, that's what he was super capable of. He was capable of doing those things. I don't know what just happened there. I think that was another lunge. I don't know what happened. No, that thing cut off real quick. And then you got guys like Andrew Billings, who's an absolute, he's a truck, man. Andrew Billings was a truck, man. And then you got plays like this. Now look at him. His feet aren't underneath him. He's kind of leaning over on this play, on this double team block here. Look at this. Like, what is that? Right? You don't get that consistent bend here either. He's kind of like standing straight up, and now he's just bending over himself, and he gets pushed back. He's playing behind the line of scrimmage. Like, it's just a different ball game, man. Everything's got to be so sound because things are going to happen fast. Here, again, you lose the edge. All of a sudden, the quarterback's got to move. Like, you just lose the edge. You don't have that recovery opportunity. And DJ Jones is legit. But when he's looking for that punch, the hand's there, he gets swiped off, but you still see that ability to stay low, work into his hip, try to stay with the rep. And that was something that he was super capable of. And that was huge, man. when you see that the traits are there and you see plays like this where, again, find the anchor, bro. Find the anchor as it still goes on, right? And look at this too. What I said about entry ankles, one more thing to this with Pass Pro. Like, if you look at how he sets himself up into this one, when it was patient and he trusted himself, it was good, man. Like this. Like, he gets that left hand inside. He gets right on his chest, gets the right hand outside. Now he's able to resync that thing back inside because he's already got the initial latch. And then he creates that wide frame. He shows you an anchor ability. That's not a... Zach Pickens is not small, okay? Is this Dexter, actually? This may be Dexter. It's either Dexter or Pickens. I don't know. Either of those. Both those dudes are big dudes, okay? Creating the anchor, sits himself down on both those plays. And then here, this is where you see some of that drive ability. So it's just having the technique to do it. Look at this right here. It's what he can do as a run blocker too. Sink himself down, boom. There's the contact and then drive him out of the play. That's what he can do as a zone blocker. That's where you get sustained upside too, because he can do that to the rep. So what I think I'm showing here is that there's all of these different things that he's capable of. It's just bringing out the consistency in that. And that's the hope for the Lions going into year 2. That's what they're going to be looking for, because that's what they've done is they bought into guys just developing. Like here, patience. Hands don't shoot yet. Stays patient. Just says, I'm going to mirror this guy. Slides with him. Boom. Now there's the right hand, and I can shut off that pass rush rep. Come on, man. Like, there's things to be excited about here. All right? Colby Sorsdal got me buying in. This looks like a Zeitler rep, man, with the big hand. I mean, it's high, right? But, hey, this looks like a Zeitler rep, bro. Re-sync it down, create that little anchor. I see you. I see you, man. We're watching Colby Sorsdal. We're about to wrap this up. Now, here's a polar. Now, this wasn't always great because, again, like the way that he wouldn't drop his way into the contact here, where he'd play a little bit straight up, didn't always look great. But athletically, just getting out to pull, certain guys don't even look right trying to get out and pull. This is one of my favorite reps. Backside of his own block. He looks super natural here because I feel like this was like, yeah, this is college. Let him play off the backside. Let him go chase somebody. We saw so many of these plays at William & Mary. And now you see him here, right, lined up, beats the defensive tackle off the line, gets that left hand right in his chest. You see the hips. He's able to press him beyond the line of scrimmage and stay with control and continue to move. You see the agility there. Where things got bad for him was with things happening really fast on the interior, and we're about to wrap this, is we started to get to this point where we had to throw the ball. We had to go to sub package, or the defense did, and they were like, "All right, let's put our pass rush in front out there." And that's where it was like, okay, this doesn't look as good. Like, he was handling the big guys that weren't maybe threatening him as much laterally, because, you know, in his slides, he'll kind of drift a little bit, or his feet will get a little bit narrow and he won't even stay wide, or his feet won't even stay underneath him because he'll kind of like settle into his anchor. So he just widens his base. And then if it's not that, now he's got to try to recover without having the right base for it. But so when these guys with some speed came in like this, and he starts to declare his hips open up like we saw at tackle, and now all of a sudden they punch him in the chest and that he's not firm at the point of attack. Now he's beat on the interior. Like when they went to these sub packages, it became a little bit of a problem. But even this, where he loses here, and you still find that sustain for him to stay low and just kind of drive through the hip on the play. That's the thing that could, I feel like, in a way, kind of be alleviated a little bit at tackle. It could help him out a little bit. And you still have the athleticism where on plays like this, where he's got to mirror a defensive back vision to go inside a linebacker, say, hey, running back's got that. Let me get back on my DB, but stay under control here. Bam, pick it up. He's got a lot of the traits. And then to kind of wrap this thing up, front side of his own play, we saw this over and over. If any of you watched the William & Mary video, you know how many plays we saw like this. And he would throw guys around with William & Mary. It was a different level. And while this was always consistent, I do feel like naturally he just needs to get stronger. He's not the strongest. 6'5", 300 pounds, 21 bench press reps, those kind of things. But you still see, technically speaking, he knows what he's doing. And here against the interior defensive lineman, to roll his hips, clear out this lane, hand placement, open up that run lane for the back. For Colby Sorsdal, man, it's going to be about like adding that consistency. But I'm very excited because he's going to have all the opportunity in front of him. The Lions get a second year with Hank Fraley. We'll see how long that is. But I love that on paper, man, because he's like the next up guy for the offensive line. We've seen it with Skipper. We've seen it with Nelson. Now it's your turn. And if it's true that the Lions and many other teams are to leave, you're like, hey, maybe down the road this guy could become a starter. All the traits showed up in the NFL, at least at one point or another, that I think you need outside of the consistent, firm foundation at that initial point of attack in pass pro. And some of that could be alleviated, I think, moving to tackle. But yeah, there's a lot there. I try to kind of fly through it. I definitely missed. I mean, guys, what am I going to do with this? I mean, people tell me, bro, hey, type the notes. You know what I mean? Type the notes. I should, because there's just a lot going on here. But it's all right. We got through it. I'm going to leave it there. Now, let's transition because we're riding. We've been going for a while here. Let's get on to our quarterback rankings. Now, like I said, I did this. I basically started ranking them. And then I was like, yo, we should use that thing that ranks them, for you. Why you just pick a quarterback and it ranks it? I guess we could do either. I kind of know where I already stand, and I'm kind of going to follow this. But what my initial quarterback ranking was not necessarily like every quarterback in the league. And I also didn't really rank the rookies. I just basically said, I'm not going to include the rookies because I don't know what they're going to do. I want to be fair to those guys. And I kind of just cut it off. Like, here's the top 18, 16, 17 quarterbacks. I kind of just cut it off there. And I just was like, all right, I'm just going to leave it, right? I'm not going to go into Sam Howell, for example, but we can do all of that with this little simulator thing. So I think we're going to try the simulator. We'll see how long it takes. And you guys will hear some of my thinking. I'll try to fly through it just for time reasons, but we're going to use Bladen Kirk. I don't know. The sports podcast that made this simulator, we're going to use this, but I'm still going to follow the rules, man. I'm going to follow the rules of I'm going to follow the rules of I'm not going to take a rookie over a player that's already been in the league, because I just feel like even when they bring up Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to take Brissett just because we have not seen him at all. Unless you guys want me to not do that, I can, but I think I'm just going to follow those rules for the sake of this quarterback ranking. And the other thing about this is I'm looking at it from the perspective of, if you're telling me they're healthy and it was just next season in the environment that they're in, right? Which quarterback do I like the most, right? Which quarterback do I take? That's how I'm kind of going to do this list. That's how I'm going to rank this thing. The issue with that, obviously, is that, like, hey, I don't want to use, we can use Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, we like him as a quarterback. Situation's been a disaster for him recently. His best receiver now is probably a rookie, which isn't terrible. I mean, he's supposed to be a good rookie, but that's the best receiver. He's not in a great environment, so it's going to hurt him naturally. So I'm going to try to balance that out as we'll talk through it. It'll all make sense. It's difficult with quarterbacks. It was difficult with the PFF one. I'll try to make it all make sense. Great breakdown. Appreciate you, Brett. A little bit more encouraged about his possible progression. That's it, man. That's all we're trying to do. Just bring some positive hope, bring some belief, bring some hope. I feel like with all the rookies, it can be like one of those things where, and I do this is why I'm saying this. When you have a guy that gets drafted, like, you're immediately like, all right, that's the focus. It's like, let me talk about Mahogany more. It's like, wait a minute though. Let's not forget Sorsdal. I know it maybe wasn't perfect last year, but that's how it goes, right? And I think at times, as Lions fans, we didn't always get to see that because the Lions maybe weren't developing guys, or they had so much turnover constantly because they couldn't find that consistent foundation. Now you have a great drafter that has literally left the door open for guys to allow them to progress and step into roles. Now you have a situation where we should spend much more and give much more attention to guys that have the opportunity to step into a bigger role and what they could actually do in that larger role. Like, hey, let's watch the progression here, because a lot of our key players next season, it's going to be about progression. It's where does Kirby go in year 3 versus year 2, which was a step back, missed some time. It's where did Iffy go? Where did Derek Barnes go? Now we're like, hey, it's cool if he's a starter. I don't think anybody's upset about that. Year 1, you'd be like, I don't know. So especially in that role, like, it was a lot of hit and miss there. That's what it's going to be all about. It's about Jack Campbell. Where does he go? So I just want to give some attention to that. All right, let's do this. This is going to be fun. We're going to go Herbert because, again, I'm not going to take the rookie over Herbert. Plus, I think Herbert's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, to me, this one's a little bit on the easier side here. I think that a lot of it with Jalen Hurts' offense was a disaster last season, personally. I'm not going to explain all of these, but you put him in a better system. We had heard the things like, yo, they're trying to redo the whole system. It's like, that's not going to help him. It's like, yeah, they actually probably will help him. It was a disaster last year. Jalen Hurts is talented. I like him more than Dak. If I had to take one for next season, I'd take Jalen Hurts. I just need the right offense around him. Derek Carr, I got to take Derek Carr because that's a rookie. Sam Howell, Baker Mayfield. I feel like in a way, like, I like Sam Howell. I do. I like how Sam Howell played. I bought in way too early on Washington, but I do like Sam Howell. But Baker Mayfield, I think, and guys like Geno have some similarities. Baker's obviously going to turn the ball over potentially a little bit more. He also has a different offense. Like, he's not in an offense that's like, let's check the ball down all the time. He's got vertical threats. He's got Godwin. He's got Evans. He's got little speedy guys that'll take off on you. Like, he's got a different offense. And what you really have to give fairness to Baker, haven't really had any kind of run game. Like, in fairness, he's really had no support there. And what he's done with that team, what he did with LA, like, you're going to get turnover-worthy plays. And he's got a pretty high percentage there. You're also going to get some big-time throws, and you're going to get some throws where you're like, man, he just threw that right into coverage. But I also trust Baker Mayfield in the sense that, man, he's going to leave it all out there, and he's going to make some big plays. Baker Mayfield's just a natural baller. I'm taking Baker. We're going to go Geno because it's a rookie. This is the one that I saw earlier where I was like, I really like Gardner Minshew. I'm not going to do this, though. I'm going to have Brock Purdy probably a lot higher on this, I assume, than what you guys are going to see, that what you guys maybe expect here. Brock Purdy and I think Baker can draw similarities in the sense that Baker's probably going to turn the ball over more. And Brock Purdy, I like what he does off schedule. But I think there are some similarities just in terms of like what they can also do well. I think Baker's probably a little bit more just like naturally accurate as a passer. They both want to play on schedule. Like if you watch when they both throw interceptions, it feels like, they were just playing on schedule, trusting their gut and letting that thing fly. Baker does it with, I think, a little bit more like arm talent. Brock Purdy does a little bit more within the scheme. But I'm going to take Brock Purdy in this one. But I do like Gardner, bro. All right, this is hey, Bryce Young, bro. It's kind of like you're a rookie, to be honest. I don't know what to do with you here, but we're rooting for you. All right, we're going to take Tua because it's rookie. This is a tough one because I know there's a lot of, and again, this is not just based on what you've done. It's also like, what do I think you're going to do forward? So I think this one you could have consideration. Like, well, maybe Anthony Richardson, right? I'm not going to get there yet because I don't think Richardson was great last season. I think he's going to improve a lot. I think he has one of the best offensive minds behind him, and I really like what that team looks like. I think Josh Downs is a stud. I keep hearing about Tank Dell. Tank Dell said CJ Stroud could be one of the best quarterback or the best quarterback in the league. CJ is a dog, all right? This initial list that I had, spoiler alert, CJ Stroud was in the top 5. But it's also the aspect of, like, you have Josh Downs, bro. Josh Downs was awesome last season. Their tight ends, like, this is a team that's so fun. They added a Donnie Mitchell. I don't trust everything, but I like it. But I'm going to go Jordan Love from what we saw, especially in the second half. Kyler Murray, not J-Mo. My goodness, what does that mean? Jameson. Okay, so we got to stop. Kyler Murray's the pick there. Goff or Stafford. Why they do this? Why is this the first one? So this is the one I struggled with, to be honest with you, because of the way that I put it. I said if they're healthy, right? So if I say if they're healthy, I can't use that as a reason to go against Stafford in this case. That hurts it. The other thing is this, is like, if you looked at it statistically, so last season, Stafford had a 2.1% or 2% turnover worthy play rate versus his huge big time throw percentage. But over the last few years, he's definitely turned the ball over. That's the thing. Houston's scary. Houston's legit. I mean, now fair, they did lose some guys. They lost guys in the back end that are reliable. And I think that, to me, Houston, it's gonna be real curious to see what that secondary does. If you look at the Texans, let me pull it up right here. If you look at the Texans depth chart, their back end, I think it's Kamari Lassiter that they're going to be asking to play. It is. He might start this year. And Jeff Okudah, opposite of Stingley, who's a dog. CJ Henderson, Desmond King. I like to have Miles Bryant. That's a good addition for the slot. But there is some like youth there. Their safeties are nice. You like what they have there. Their defensive line's okay. I think specifically on the edge, it's great. At least for their starters. Depth, I don't know about that, but their starters are good on the edge. Interior's a little shaky, and they didn't have a run game last year. Like, they did not run the ball well at all last season. Now they addressed that with Joe Mixon. That should help them a lot because it was like, Damien's that dude, and then he just really never became that. Their offensive line has a big part to do with that. First-round pick, Blake Fisher this year. Was that a first-round pick? May not have been a first-round pick. That was one of their first picks, though. So they addressed it a little bit, but it was a disaster last season. So they got things they got to figure out. Like, they didn't have a consistent run game. Their secondary is a little bit questionable, opposite. And it's not because like you haven't seen it. I mean, it is a little bit like with Lassiter, but I thought there was a gap between him and I like Lassiter a lot. I think Lassiter's going to fit in that scheme, but it still is a rookie. All right. So here because I'm not taking injuries into account, and if you're just saying next season in their offense, I do think that I gave Stafford the nod here because what he has done within that offense, I just think where he's at right now. And here's the thing that I want to make clear about this. To me, this is also not something. It doesn't end this year. It's not like because I click Stafford, it's like, oh, it's done. It'll always be better. Like, no, I think quarterbacks get better with age. I think the best quarterbacks get better with age, as long as they're healthy. Like, football intelligence speaking, and if you can play into that, you got it going. I think Stafford's gotten to that point where he's playing at that high level. Obviously, a lot of turnover-worthy plays, even in their Super Bowl run. He's obviously going to give a lot of big plays. It's just a different style, but I think that what Stafford was able to do immediately with LA, I think it speaks a lot there. And I just think where he's at right now, he's playing his best football ever as a quarterback. So I went that route. Kirk Cousins Fields. Kirk's going to be way higher than you expect. I'm going to go Kirk. Honestly, this one got me held up for a second because I was like, Rodgers didn't look good with the Packers. And he played 4 snaps. He's got pieces there. PFF. Hey, so y'all know, random stat. Pro Football Focus had 4 teams with the top 5 offensive line and defensive line. Those 4 teams, Lions, number 4 defensive line, number 1 offensive line, Philly, Cleveland, and they put the Jets in there. They put the Jets offensive line in there with Vera Tucker and, the first round pick. And now they have the old veterans coming. I mean, it feels like it could be too high. They put him at 5, but it feels like that could go wrong very quickly. I'm going to go Rodgers though, because I'm not like the biggest Russell Wilson guy. Russell Wilson kind of knows his role though, and he knows what he's good at. And I think he'll probably be the starter there for Chicago, or not for Chicago, for Pittsburgh. But I'll go Rodgers, but my goodness, not by a lot. Like Rodgers is way too high for most people, in my opinion. Okay, obviously Burrow here. I'm gonna go Josh Allen. If I'm just picking the quarterback for me, my next season, he's gonna be healthy. Josh Allen is just like one of the biggest great game breakers in the league for me. Take CJ, of course. Yeah, this is. I'm gonna go Daniel Jones. I don't think Brissett was that great last season with Cleveland. Plus, we're kind of just doing all this off the dome. Lamar over Will Levis. Do like what Will did. Will could be the starter long term, which would be really cool if that became the case. We're gonna go Deshaun because it's a rookie. Deshaun and Herbert. It's easy when it's Herbert. We'll go Dak because it's a rookie. Dak and Carr. Of course, we're gonna go Dak here. Sam Howell and Penix. We're gonna go Sam. Sam Howell and Geno Smith. I think Geno can get overlooked. I think Geno also has a really nice core around him, but you got to give fair to Geno. His offensive line's been really shaky at times. Now, they've addressed it. On paper, it should be better. They've had a run game. They have nice feet. They have really good pieces at receiver. But in fairness to him, he's made it work with some really questionable tackle play. Geno Smith has actually played pretty darn well. He fits in so well to that offense. He obviously still has the rushing threat. I got to put over Sam based on last season, but Sam was in a tough spot, dude. Geno or Baker? This is where I struggle right here with these two. I struggle with these two because it doesn't separate by much. Like, I got them next to each other. I ended up, if we're going that stats here, more turnover plays you're going to get from Baker than Geno. Geno's probably going to take care of the ball more, and you're also going to have Baker probably going to be less efficient, I would assume as well. Like, you're probably going to get less efficiency, though his adjusted completion percentage is really strong. Sometimes they just drop the passes over there, but they both have like really nice receiving cores. I would argue Seattle's is better. Chad, let me know. Hey, I want to hear what you guys think. I think I know where I'm going to go. Let me know what y'all think. Would you rather have Geno or Baker? I'm going to go with Baker. I like what he's done with what they have there. Now, their defense is, I like their defense too. I'm going to go with Baker. Seattle obviously needs to get their defense rolling a little bit. I don't think there's a massive gap for me. But if I had to take one, I would bet on Baker, man. I'd bet on Baker. So I'm going to take Baker. Who would y'all take, Geno or Baker? Throw it in the comments right now. I'm very curious on that one. Bryce Young or Gardner? I'm going to go Gardner. It's tough because Bryce Young, like, hopefully next year, but it doesn't feel like they did a ton, but I would like to see them be much better. Baker, Bucks lost their OC. Yeah, and he was like the buzz this offseason, right? Like, oh, okay, I clicked something. He was a buzzy name this offseason. But, Baker's made it work like every place, I feel like. If you really go outside of the year that he was hurt with Cleveland, he's made it work everywhere. So I'd bet on that. But it's a fair point. Okay, Gardner Minshew or Mahomes? Mahomes, Purdy or Mahomes. Anthony Richardson, we got to take Richardson or Tua. Yeah, when I saw this, bro, part of me wanted to take Richardson, dog. Like, I just love the offense that he's in. And if you got back to the draft, I loved Richardson. Like, that would have been the quarterback I would have taken if I was a team. Now, CJ's obviously become that dude, and it's only been 1 year. I would have taken Richardson. So, I like Richardson a lot, bro, and I really like what the Colts are doing. But Tua in that offense, like, he's going to be incredibly productive there. There's limitations. Maybe you don't have those same limitations with Richardson. I just didn't feel enough last year. I'm going to take Tua. Tua or Love? Woo. See, Tua's got an argument here, though. I think most people would take Love, but Tua's got an argument based on he's done it. Like, Tua's done it for years, man. He's like, hold up, I've done this. This dude had a good second half of the season. I've been doing this. But based on what I saw, Love made some, like, I would go Love. I'd take Love. All right, Goff for Winston. We're going to take Goff. Goff for Murray. We're going to take Jared Goff. Hey, Rad, hold up. Yo, Rad would have something to say. Rad would have something to say, man. All right, I'm glad. Hey, in and out. Baker, if I have a good offensive line, Geno, if not. That makes a ton of sense. That makes sense. I could see that. It's like, hey, Geno's got a factor because he could take off. He's obviously built different too. I like Tua, but he has to make a problem throwing to his checkdowns. Tua. If we're being fair, a lot of these quarterbacks, man, it's like where people knock Goff. Like, oh man, his offensive coordinator is really good. It's like, okay, but this is the case with like most quarterbacks. Like, if I take their coordinator away, they're gonna look different because Tua, who does the same thing like Purdy, who throws the same interceptions like Baker, like these guys, they trust their scheme, they trust what they see, they let the ball rip, and it's just like that's what they do. Now, I think Goff's improved in certain areas, so I don't want to say they're all the same, but like you'll get the same kind of turnovers. In fairness, Russell Wilson or Fields, I'm gonna take Russell Wilson. Russell or Kirk, we're taking Kirk there. Kirk or Rodgers? Chat, call me crazy. I'm taking Kirk. I'm taking Kirk Cousins over Rodgers. I don't like what I've seen recently from Rodgers. Kirk Cousins, I think, is super underrated. We'll see. He has to be healthy, right? He's coming off some injuries. But like right now, I think Kirk is super underrated. Again, a lot of it's a scheme. Like, yeah, it absolutely is. And he had a lot of early turnovers. But I think Kirk's a dog, bro. I think Kirk Cousins. Trevor or JJ, we got to go with Trevor here. Trevor or Burrow. Okay. Burrow or Josh Allen. Probably one of the tougher ones at the top. I don't think JJ is getting off the bench this year. Yeah, I'm not taking any rookies because I'm just going to put them all at the bottom. I'm just going to throw those guys all at the bottom here just because I haven't seen them at all in the NFL. Just to be fair, just to all kind of put them in the same spot. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, though. See, what's tough about this is for me personally, I'd take Josh Allen. Like, if I could just have one of these guys, he's going to make some bad interceptions. But I'd lean Josh Allen there. I know that's a tricky one, though. We got to go Brissett here. CJ again. Caleb or Will Levis. Okay, we have to go Will. Will or Deshaun? Hey, honestly, I don't know. Hold up. I mean, no, Deshaun's looked terrible, dog. He had a good second half against the Ravens. Awful first half against the Ravens. Yo, Deshaun looked bad, dog. Like, he's giving you flashes of like, oh, there's the big time Deshaun. He definitely likes to run. He likes to move around. He's been terrible. And if you just compare to supporting cast, obviously there's a gap. And we're going forward. Hey, I'm taking Will Levis, dog. I'm taking Will Levis. I'm buying in, bro. Will Levis got some of that Baker, man. He's going to trust. He's going to let it fly. I'm going to take Will Levis. We'll take Herbert here. Herbert's going to be really fun with this new coach. It's going to be fun to watch. Herbert or Lamar? Oh, boy. See, I think you have to go Lamar. Like we talked about, it's just the impact that he has. Deshaun got paid and stopped trying. Like, the impact that he has by just being on the field, I think it leans that way for him. Herbert's had even Herbert's numbers. I think I have some wrote down here. No, I didn't write down. This is kind of a tough one. I'm not going to lie. Herbert, see, and that's the tough thing, dude. It's like Herbert, to me, with this offense is going to his receiving core is questionable, but just with this coach, he's going to be really good. They're going to be really good, really fast. They're going to get that thing rolling. Lamar, obviously, playoff-wise, he's been awful. Regular season, he's been fantastic. He wins a ton of games. The sporting cast obviously leans very heavy Lamar Jackson here. See, here's a tough thing, man. Like, if you just put them right in front of me, you said neither were getting paid. We're just like, take one for next season. I might take Herbert. I mean, Lamar would give me flexibility because I'd be able to be like, hey, wait, hold up. Lamar Jackson, it's going to change everything. Everybody's got to play us different now. But, like, if it was like normally, I'd be like, you know what, though? I'm cool with Justin Herbert. Like, he's going to be a dog in his offense. I had initially Lamar one spot ahead of Herbert. So this one actually is very difficult. Lamar's also coming off his best season statistically. It's hard, man, because I just don't think it's going to be... I don't think they have enough weapons. That's where I'm struggling. I don't think LA has enough. But I'm going to go Herbert. I had him one spot for each other. I'm going to flip that. I'm going to go Herbert. All right, you got two rookies here. It doesn't matter. I'll just pick Michael Penix. We got to go Derek Carr. Howell. Honestly, bro. Honestly, dude. 21 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Derek Carr, it's been a mess with New Orleans. It's been a complete disaster over there. Not the best supporting cast either, to be fair. The offensive line's been a disaster too. I'm going to go Carr to this point because I have much more I can buy into there. I'm going to go Geno over Carr. Dak or Geno. Dak or Geno. That's actually kind of a tricky one. I'm gonna go Dak, but I don't think it's by a mile. Dak or Baker. Gosh, they're making this tough, dude. They're just like, come on, man. I didn't know it was gonna be hard. Like, bro, like I knew there's gonna be some tough ones, but when you really start seeing them next to each other, it gets difficult. This gets really difficult. Dak is coming off an incredible season. I'm just not. I don't buy into Dak. I wouldn't pay Dak. I don't think the Cowboys will. Baker got paid, not a crazy amount. I could see paying Baker what he got paid though. I don't. Hey, chat. This list about to go crazy on Twitter, dog. I'm taking Baker. Baker or Hurts. We're going Hurts. Gotta go Bryce Young. Yo, why Bryce Young look like that though? Hold up. Nah, for real though. Like, was he singing or something? I don't know what's going on there. All right, Bryce Young or Richardson. Because of the team they're on, I'm gonna go Richardson. Anthony Richardson or Minshew. Guys, watch this. Oh, but here's the issue though. Here's the issue. So last season, I thought Minshew was better than Richardson. Now that's fair because it's the flashes that you're looking for. That's completely fair. This is rookie season. He barely played in college. Minshew was better with the Colts, I thought, than Anthony Richardson. And I know they say, I was at basically all their home games last year. I was, all right, all but one. But I really do believe that he was much better than Anthony Richardson. The issue is now Gardner's in LA, right, with the Raiders, or he's in Vegas with the Raiders. That's not, they have weapons. They have Bowers. If their offensive line kind of pulls it together a little bit, they could have something here. I don't know how much they'll win, though, because their defense is very shaky. They address the defensive line. Oh, man, they're not in an easy division either. And Richardson, I love the offensive coordinator. I like the weapons he has. I also kind of like how they match up more with Jacksonville and Tennessee than I would with Minshew and the Raiders. Guys, this is tough. I'm going to go Minshew, dog. I thought Minshew was good last year. I'm going to go Minshew. Tua or Minshew? I'm going to take Tua. I think he's earned that. I'm going to take Purdy over Tua. I'm going to take Purdy over Love. Fields, goodness, I can't go right here. Okay, I'll just take Fields. Okay, we're going to take Kyler. Kyler or Russell, we'll take Kyler. Kyler or Rodgers. Taking Kyler, dog. Hey, say what you want to say. Look, it could be a disaster next season. This isn't a team award, it's a player award. Say what you want to say. Need an option for neither. Hey, facts, dog. Put it wherever you want, thing. Just put him at the bottom. The thing, no, that's messed up. Hey, Fields did some good things, all right? Fields is a threat. Could we say, I just want to know, tell me, this is probably crazy. I'm just going to say it, though. Could we say that in a similar way to how Lamar Jackson, just his presence, changes how you have to play? Fields does the same thing. He just doesn't efficiently pass the football like Lamar, or maybe he's not even as dynamic as a runner. Like, he hasn't been as good, obviously. And his supporting cast hasn't been as good either. He hasn't had the top defense, even though their defense was much better last season. Weapons, I would say, have been better with Lamar, but maybe not by a landslide. I think similar, like when you play Fields, you have to play them different. When we play Fields, we have to play a certain way. Like, he's just, because he's a threat. He just takes off. So I think Fields has to have that nod in a little bit of a way. Kyler is fragile. This is fair. I'm doing this based, well, if you're talking about health, I'm doing this based on him not being injured. He can't be injured. But if you're talking about not health, it's fair. I'm not the biggest Kyler guy. I don't know who I just picked him over. Oh, I picked him over Rodgers, but I feel good about that. I can say things about Rodgers, to be honest. Kirk or Kyler, I'll take Kirk. Goff or Cousins, you guys know how that is. Bo Nix or JJ, we'll take a JJ, even though it don't matter. Jacoby, we got to take Jacoby. Jacoby or Lawrence, we'll take Lawrence. Lawrence or Daniel, we'll take Lawrence. Lawrence or CJ, we're going to take CJ. CJ or Burrow. Hey, I got to be honest. Dog. Straight up. CJ should have won MVP last season, bro. I'm going to stick to that. CJ should have been MVP last season. I got to look this up real quick, just because I need to know. I think I'm going to take Burrow, but I got to make sure here. I got to make sure on something, because we're saying they're both healthy, right? And the Bengals offense fine. They got Brown, they got Volson, Ted Karras, Ellis Kappa, Trent Brown. That's their offensive line. Okay. I love their weapons, especially now with Burton in the mix. They added Zach Moss. The running backs, we'll have to see how that shakes out, but they did add Zach Moss. And the Texans, who legitimately could not run the football last season. Like, they couldn't do it. Ah, boy. I mean, I would say supporting cast goes Cincy. Burrow's awesome when healthy. I mean, if you have it, look at his numbers. So last season was 15 touchdowns, 6 picks. But historically, like, he has a huge big-time throw rate, right, based on what PFF said, and a pretty low turnover-worthy play rate, even though he does turn the ball over double digits usually. He'll make some, like, it feels like you'll watch him, you'll see some dumb interceptions. He also usually gets out really slow to the season, and obviously the injuries, which we're not taking into account here. Hey, this is my list, dog. I'm taking CJ. Hey, this is my list. I'm taking CJ. CJ and Josh, I'm taking Josh. I'd rather have Josh. Doesn't matter here. Okay, doesn't matter. All right, we'll take Deshaun because we have to. Deshaun or Howell. Oh, I feel terrible. Every time this comes up, I feel terrible. I'm going to go with Deshaun. Deshaun's in a place to succeed. Sam Howell's not. Deshaun, it needs to happen here soon. This is one. I don't think there's a winner. This is legitimately where neither button would come into play. Derek Carr, Deshaun Watson. I'll take Deshaun. I'll take Geno over Deshaun, though. Will Levis or Geno? We'll take Geno. We'll take Lamar. Lamar or Dak, we'll take Lamar. Lamar or Baker, there's Lamar. Lamar or Jalen? I'll go Lamar. I'll go Lamar. We'll take Jameis because he's played. Bryce Young over Jameis. Justin Fields or Bryce Young? Give me Bryce, man. It's a terrible supporting cast, though, to be fair. I just don't know if Fields is even going to start. Bryce Young or Russell? In fairness, I'll give it to Russell because I feel like I know what I'm going to get. Richardson, I'll take over Russell. Rodgers or Richardson? Yo, what is happening with this list, dog? Like these matchups, I'm setting myself up for these by how I'm clicking these. I'm being bold, and it's leading to problems here. We have to see how Stroud and Love will do now that there's film on them. This is fair. I'm just bought in. I think Stroud's a dog. I just think he's a dog. I don't have the same bias. Maybe this bias here. It might be. I might be completely wrong. I just feel, and maybe it's because I watch Love closer. I feel like you can slow down Love in that offense. CJ, I think you're really going to struggle to slow down because he is pinpoint accurate. I just think you're going to struggle to slow down. You can just ball it too quickly. He doesn't lean on everything has to be off schedule, yet he essentially, I mean, look, let's be fair to CJ. No run game. Very shaky offensive line. Defense is really good. He had that. Defense was good last season. No run game, shaky offensive line, basically made all his weapons, got Nico Collins paid. Like, there's a lot of things going for him as a rookie, which is crazy. Rodgers or Richardson, though? I think next, gosh, this is tough, dude. This is tough. I'm going to go, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm going to go Rodgers. I'll go Rodgers. Rodgers or Gardner, because I did put Gardner above Richardson. I'll put Rodgers. Rodgers or Tua? Oh! Dude, that tells me I have Tua above these guys, and I don't even feel good about that. Tua's going to make it work. Rodgers should make it work if he's healthy, because he's going to be comfortable in that offense. Chat, Tua or Rodgers, who would you take? Can't trust Watson to play when he's cleared to play. This isn't wrong. Who would y'all take, Rodgers or Tua? So Tua last season, right? What did he do last season? Or not Tua, Rodgers. Oh, Rodgers didn't play last season. Tua, I know what I'm going to get. He's definitely going to turn the ball over, but he's going to excel in that offense. See, that's the thing. Healthy Rodgers, I don't know what I'm going to get. Like, bro, okay, if you told me I got the same Rodgers from 2022 versus Tua, I'd probably take Tua. That's the problem I have. Is my most recent sample size. I think I take Tua, and Tua's accurate, man. But yeah. All right, I'll take Rodgers. We'll go Love over Rodgers, though. Jordan Love or Kyler Murray. What are y'all saying on that? Rodgers? Okay. So we're on board here. All right, Jordan Love or Kyler. I had Love above Kyler on my first one. This a lot of this is kind of the offense that they're into. Like, they just need work over there in Arizona, and they're going to struggle to win just because of where they're at. Kyler Murray. I think, boy, this is tough. This is really tough. This might be the toughest one yet. I don't know which one I like here. Because I had them separated. I had them separated by one spot. So this makes sense. And I took Love the first time around by one spot. Who would I rather have one season healthy? You get this guy. I'm going to take Love. I think there's more limitations with Kyler. I think I can slow him out of the game a little bit more. I'll take Love. We're definitely taking Kirk over Love. Kirk or Purdy? I'll take Kirk. I'd rather have Kirk. Not by a lot, but I'd rather have Kirk. We're going to take Mahomes. I almost clicked off. Y'all about saw that. We're going to take Mahomes. Stafford or Mahomes? Stafford or Mahomes? Yeah, Mahomes. And then, okay, doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep looking. JJ or Howell. It doesn't matter. I got to take Howell. Howell or Brissett. Give me Howell. Howard Daniel Jones. Trevor Lawrence. Trevor or Derek. We're gonna do Trevor here. Trevor Deshaun, I'll take Trevor as well. Trevor or Will, I'll take Trevor. Trevor hasn't been great, man. Even if you look at Trevor's numbers, right? Big throw percentage, a lot of turnover-worthy plays, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. They're trying to get it together too. I would take Trevor, though, I think, over Geno as well. I take Trevor over Dak. Trevor or Baker? I think it's Trevor. Trevor or Jalen? Give me Jalen at this point. Jalen or Burrow? We're going to go Burrow. Burrow or Lamar? I'm going to go Burrow. Burrow or Herbert? I'll go Burrow. Doesn't matter. Take Jameis. Hey, Jameis going to be kind of high on this list. Jameis just getting clicks because he has to. All right, Jameis, we see you out here working. Yeah, now you keep. Yeah, that's actually fine. Justin Fields or Brissett. Give me Fields for the factor of him being on the field. Factors are Fields or Jones. Yo, why does Jones look like that? It makes me not want to pick him. Like, straight up. Like, I'm looking at this picture. I don't want to pick Daniel Jones. He's scaring me a little bit. It looks like he's hungry or something. Like, part of me is like, yo, hey, back up, dog. These are my chicken nuggets. That's how I feel when I'm looking at this. You know what I mean? I don't want to be around this dude when he looks like that. Fields look chill. Daniel Jones looks hungry. Hungry to win, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. Daniel Jones' supporting cast is a mess, though. I really like his offensive coordinator a lot. I'm going to go Fields. Fields or Howell? I'll go Fields. Fields or Derek Carr? Ooh. I'm going to go Carr. I'll go Carr here. Derek Carr or Russell Wilson? I think if I had to pick one, I think I might rather have Russell Wilson. No, neither of them were good last year. I just feel bad for Carr's situation. I'm going to take Carr. Anthony Richardson or Carr? I'm going to take Richardson in that one. I'll take Richardson over Watson. I'm cool with that. Will Levis or Richardson is actually interesting, though, because I do like where Levis is at. I'm going to go. Ooh, this is tight. Now, this is tight. No, Trevor definitely needs to take care of the ball. No doubt. This one's tight for me. I like where Levis is at. I think he's in a good spot to have success this year. Same thing with Richardson. I think Levis just did a lot of good last season. I mean, he had some bad turnovers. Just same things that you're wondering how it's going to transition. Is this going to improve in the NFL? But Richardson had ways to go last season. And we're going on next season. Laid him out there. You're like, take one for next season. I take Richardson. If I had Richardson and Geno for next season, it's like, yo, we got to win. I take Geno. Geno or Mitchell. Why is Mitchell still popping up? I feel like, yo, Mitchell, leave, dog. I've already given you love. You keep coming back, and I got to keep making a decision between. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Gardner Minshew or Geno? Hey, I'm doing it. I'm taking Gardner Minshew, dog. We'll take Dak. Dak or Tua? I'm taking Tua. Tua or Baker. I think I'm confusing the simulator. I'm like, I think they're like, yo, this don't make no sense. None of this actually makes any sense. Would Baker thrive in that offense that Tua's in? I think he definitely could. But I think they're different styles. Like, they're built to play different ways. And that's why they're built to fit in different schemes. I think that makes sense. They're very different quarterbacks. Ahead of the next season, though, and he gave me one of the two, I take Baker, dude. I would. I mean, like, I would take Baker. And then Baker or Rodgers, if I had to take one of the two, I guess I take Rodgers because he's healthy in this example. We'll take Lawrence over Rodgers. Lawrence or Kyler. So these are the two I had split by one. I had Kyler above Lawrence by one spot. Yeah, I hope so, man. Young's a good dude from what we could tell, man. I'm rooting for him. I don't think they did enough for him to take like a stride this year, which stinks. But I hope it happens. He looked really small last season, though. His hands look small. He looks small. I don't even know what his hand size is. I mean, there's a lot of guys that get talked about their hand size. His hands look small last season. Kyler Murray and Lawrence. I took Murray, but a big part of me says I would take Lawrence in this because I think Lawrence I could feel more comfortable with. Like, I'm going to find a way to win if I got Lawrence. And then you got Love and you got Lawrence. Lawrence did not look good last season. I mean, just And Jordan did. Jordan finished the season such a high level. I had Love above Lawrence. I like Doug Peterson, though, a lot. Actually, let me do this real quick just to kind of, because we're pretty close to being done with this one. I haven't seen a lot of Goff in here either. What is the, because I know that the Jaguars, they have their, they have Ezra Cleveland at guard. They have a couple draft picks at tackle. Anton Harrison, Cam Robinson. And offensive line could be okay. Maybe a little bit of depth there, too. Don't love the receiver room. Yeah, Brian Thomas, they're counting on a lot, man. I'm going to take Love. I like the situation a little bit better here. I'm going to take Love. Love or Hurts? I'll take Hurts. Hurts or Purdy? I'm going to take... Chad, what about this one? Minshew is super underrated. No, facts. He's super underrated. Put him in the right scheme, and he's the man. He's the starter, best back in the league. Absolutely agree. That dude can play. I hate when I hear people talk about Minshew, and it's like automatically, he's not a starter. He's Gardner Minshew. It's like, bro, watch him play. You look like a dang starter. I mean, they said about Geno, and now it's like, well, he's a starter. He got his opportunity. He's a starter. Gardner Minshew looked like a starter last season. He did his thing with Indy. He wasn't great, but he did his thing. And then this one is difficult because I had Brock Purdy, but the more I think about it, like I was just going to take one for next season, I would struggle to not just take Jalen Hurts. I feel like Jalen would just mean more for my offense, right? Like he would. I'm going to take Hurts. Kirk or Jalen. Woo. In the right offense, I'm going to take Kirk. Kirk or Lamar. We'll take Lamar. Goff or Lamar. Hey, yo. I see what you did here. You just made me wait. You're like, wait a minute. Wait till we get to this one. You know what I'm going to do? And look, to be honest, I have Lamar above Goff. I had Lamar a spot and a half, or 2 spots above Goff. That's what I had at Mass. But just for the video, kind of want to take Goff. Kind of want to do it, It showed the numbers. I kind of want to do it. You know what I mean? Like, chat. There's a little bit of bias here. Because to be honest, like, I want to take off, dude. All right, let me think. Calm down. Put him in front of me. Take one for next season. Goff and Lamar are standing next to each other. Which one am I taking? Take the bias out of it. No bias. Just pick one. He's going to help you win. Oh, my gosh, dude. I don't know. I know I had Lamar higher, but like when it presents itself, now I'm just sitting here like, if they were just standing there, it's like, bro, take one for next season. Who you got? They're healthy. And I've been watching Lions game recently, so I'm pretty fired up about what Goff is going to do. Lamar's easy pick. The numbers don't say it, though, man. To be fair, numbers don't agree with you. You know what I mean? I hear you. Like, the narrative is that it's an easy pick, but the numbers don't agree that's an easy pick. From salary cap to defensive ranks to statistics, Lamar until the playoffs. That matters, though. Because here's the thing. Either of these quarterbacks, I'm getting to the playoffs. I'm buying into that. I think the real thing is here, it's not who I take. It's the fact that I think they're really tight. In their own way, I think they're tight. Gosh, I hate this, dog. I really do. I want to take Goff because we're live. I want to. I'm struggling. Would I really take Lamar? I don't know if I take Lamar, bro. I don't know if I would. I would. Okay. I'm sorry, chat. I couldn't do it. All right. I couldn't do it. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I couldn't do it. I took off. All right. We move on. Now they hit me with this. Great. So you know what they did, right? They waited. They said, here you go. We're going to get you Goff last. I actually appreciate you for this. But now it's tough. Now it's take Goff all day. Because here's the thing, right? So I had Lamar initially 2 spots ahead of Goff. And the guy I had 1 spot ahead of Goff was Justin Herbert. So now they're like, here you go. We saw your notebook. Make the decision in front of everybody. Okay, bet. So I made the Goff Lamar. I think this is tougher. Because I think if you look at where they're at now, obviously I love the situation that Goff is in a lot more. I just think the Chargers, in terms of building around Herbert, needs a little bit more time. Like if I look at this, let me actually get it pulled up here. What's your sporting cast? LA Chargers. Because they really got rid of all their veterans. And I think it's gonna help him. I do. I think he's gonna be better. He's gonna have a run game. They invested on the offensive line. They did it the right way. They really did. Like, they had to add McConkey, who's just a pass catcher and he gets open. But Johnson, I don't trust. Palmer's good. They have DJ Chark. Like this feels like kind of like a receiving room from like a year ago for us. It feels like they're a year ago from where we were. Like in a way, like they invested the right way. They went offensive line. Defensively, there's things that I like. It's just like kind of an overhaul at cornerback. Christian Fulton's one of their starters. They have Asante Samuel, who we like. Derwin James hasn't been there. Alawi Gilman has been good. Alohi Gilman. Like, it feels like they're a year away from being where we are as a team. But as a player, I would struggle not to take Herbert here, I think. Because I think Herbert's a dog, dude. Like, Herbert's going to get the job done, man. Goff's going to make the right decision. Herbert's going to get it done. I'm going to go Herbert here. Stafford or Herbert? I'm going to stick with my initial ranking. I had Stafford above him. Burrow I had above. And I had Mahomes here. CJ or Patrick? We went Patrick. Patrick or Josh? I'm taking Patrick. And we're going to leave it there. All right, let's see where we're at. I'm excited for this. Let's see what this looks like. Let me get this stuff off the screen. Oh, no, I don't need to. Perfect. Okay. Number 1, Mahomes. Number 2, Josh Allen. All right. Number 3, I have CJ. I don't know how that happened. You know what? I do, because I took him over Burrow. I initially had Burrow over, but I took CJ. I'm not mad at that. 5, Stafford. That's where I had Stafford at 4. So I actually dropped Stafford 1. How did I do that? Oh, because I moved CJ way up on this. So it dropped Stafford to 5. Okay. Herbert at 6, Goff at 7. I had initially Goff at 8, so it's still there. Lamar at 8. Kirk 9, 10 Hurts. I like my top 10. Brock at 11. Jordan Love. Hey, this looked good. Brock at 11. Love at 12. Lawrence 13. Kyler 14. Rodgers 15. Baker 16. Tua at 17. I feel like I did Tua a little dirty. I maybe should move Tua up 1. I know Dak, statistically, he's way too low. This is how I look at it, though, personally. Minshew giving him some love, put him right above Geno. Richardson, and then after that, it was kind of just whatever. I mean, Richardson, Will Levis. We put Watson really low. He's right above Carr, though. Wilson's in here by Young. I feel good about this, dude. I do. I like this. I like this. They did. Herbert can make every throw, though, and I think for me personally, I really buy into that. But obviously, it's obvious decision making. I think where he's at right now, he's going to get good decision making. They're going to focus. The Chargers are going to focus on situational awareness, and he's going to bring a lot. I mean, Harbaugh knows how to make it work with quarterback. He's going to make it work for Herbert. It just may not be all there yet, but we were trying to just focus on the quarterback. So, chat, my quarterback rankings for the upcoming season. Woo! All right. Hey, that was wild. McCarthy above Caleb, May, Penix, and Daniels might be wild. Yeah. In fairness, I didn't put any stock into this, to be honest. I just clicked them because they haven't played yet. So that'd be the only thing is I would have to re-rank the guys that haven't played. We could do that. I just didn't. Like, as you see, every rookie is at the bottom. They should be. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. So if I was ranking those, though, I'd put Caleb 1, Jaden 2. I'd put Bo 3, Drake 4, based on what I think they'll do this season. Drake 4, 5, McCarthy. I don't know. McCarthy might be a little higher. I don't know. That one's tough, actually. I don't know. I'd probably have McCarthy that low because it's year 1. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, I feel good. Hey, I feel good. I didn't think I was going to feel good about this. I thought for sure when I got done, I was going to be like, I hate this. I actually like this. That is your quarterback rankings for the upcoming season. Hey, those Baltimore comments are going to be crazy. They're going to be crazy. All right. Caleb is a huge question mark. Never took a snap under center last year. 31 fumbles. 31 fumbles? Yeah, that's a problem. Now, that sounds like a problem. I like that. I like that you come with the stats here. This is good. All right. So with that, we're going to, okay, here's what we're going to do. I want to react to some of the comments. Better leader, better talent, Caleb. Yeah, I think so. Like, I almost feel like JJ's super talented. It's just like consistency. We gotta find the way to pull that out of him. We're gonna wrap this. I put random movie segment because I'm a movie guy. All right. Also, let me get this thing off the screen. It's just blocking everything here. I'm a movie guy. So like I always like have like random takes on movies. Like, oh man, this is kind of how I felt. And I was like, maybe we could just start throwing it in here. I was thinking about doing this on the other channel. Like giving my random movie takes. I don't know why. All right. I was falling asleep last night. I'm like, I should start adding this. I was like, maybe I'll just put it in this show. We don't need to do that. Because to end this, I mean, maybe we can. We'll see. To end this, I want to look at our last live stream's comment section. This is our new thing. So this was episode 3, right? Episode 3. Yeah. Okay. We're going to read through the comments. Again, if you're watching this point, throw your comments in. We're going to read through some. Some may be mean. I don't know. I don't know what to expect here. But let's find out. Can I make sure I get this thing right? Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I try not to look through the comments because I was going to save it for the stream. I always think this is kind of funny. So we're going to do it. All right, here we go. Okay, actually, why is this not? Okay, there's actually, I can just read them probably. Actually, let me just do that. All right, so here's the first comment. Oh, okay. Actually, no, hold up. Wait. Sorry, I'm struggling over here. I don't know where let me get the wrong thing. Let me go through the channel. McCarthy has really good vision. Old player, man, and he's tough, man. He stands in. He's tough. You know, I was watching the whole Ohio State game back yesterday, and I was like, yeah, man, he stands in there. He delivers it. Makes big plays on big downs, like big third down conversions. Like, you got to give him that, right? Not every player going to get a good pass, but he made a ridiculous throw in that Ohio State game. Like, running out of bounds, he just put it on the sideline. I mean, that was nasty. That was a nasty throw. So here we go. First comment. I like the idea of first-round offensive line. So in our last live stream, we drafted offensive lineman Jonah Savania. Is that how you say his name? Jonah Savania? At pick 30. So go check that out. I won't say the other pick, but we did a way too early mock draft. My man, user DR7, says he likes the idea of offensive line first round. If we evaluate their current O-line, the foundational pieces, Sewell, Ragnow, Decker, are all former first rounders. This is true. And Zeiler is a former first rounder for the Bengals. Also, although Manu, Sorsdal, and Mahogany are nice depth pieces, they'll probably have ceilings lower than first rounders. So again, that's where I think the vision is Manu can have maybe not a first round ceiling, but he's going to have a starting ceiling. And same thing with Sorsdal, like we talked about. It's just going to take time. I think with first round, you're trying to buy into a lot of times outside of offensive tackle, where sometimes like offensive tackle can be, you draft tackle in the first round at the end. It may not be he's going to start right away. He might have that ceiling, like my man said. But I think a lot of times first round, if you go guard or center, he's expected to start right away and also have that high level ability. So we went with a guy that could play on the interior or on the outside. So I think he could have an immediate impact, but I see what he's saying there. My man, Andre Michael says, future is so bright for you, and keep up good work. Hey, I appreciate you, Andre. Thomas says, see, told you I'd run it back. My man, Tom. Oh, you did run it back. He said he's going to run back the stream. Thomas, you did that. I see you. My man, he's not available. Oh, fuck. Okay, I don't know why that's your name. You have 212 subscribers, though. You're cooking. I see you. I got to check out your content. Maybe post some content. No, you know those people that have a ton of subscribers that don't post anything? That always throws me off. Like, they got to be laying down the best comments of all time. You know their comments are fire, bro. If you have more subscribers than me and all you do is comment, you are that dude in the comment section. No way. I think I may love this. I appreciate that. He's not available. And there is one more comment that didn't pop up on here for some reason. So let me see what it is. Maybe because they're like, yo, this is restricted. This guy was talking crazy. Let's see if he was talking crazy. No, actually, that's it. No, it says there's another one. Hold up. We're missing something here. Somebody get this kid an extra dose of Adderall. All right. You know, this isn't the first time I've heard things like this. Y'all know this is not new to me. I've been hearing this for years. All right. I see you though. I appreciate the little flashback comment. All right. It's good to hear. Yeah, man. Hey, leave a comment if you're watching the live stream. If you're here now, leave a comment. We'll react to it on our next live stream. We'll react to them. Always leave comments, man. I may not react to them in the comment section, but I'll save them for the live stream. And What up, Doe? I don't want to say your name. What up, Doe T? Leave a comment, man. How you doing? We're about to wrap this thing up. But before we do, I'm going to do this to wrap it up. Hey, I appreciate y'all being here too, man. This was fun. Have a great weekend. But before we do, I'm not leaving yet. Before we do, all right, I wanted to give a quick movie take. Now, I can't really show an image of this because I feel like it's going to be all age restricted here. Chat, I'm going to throw it in the comments. Either give me a movie recommendation or give me your boldest or like spiciest movie take. Give me your hottest movie take. All right. Any kind of movie. Just throw, I may not know it. Just throw it in the comment section because I got a random one. All right. I watched a messed up movie last night, right? Or it wasn't even last night. It took me time to get through it. And I got to the point I was like, I don't think I can watch this. I was like, I don't think I can watch this movie. I have to admit, you changed my mind today on Sorsdal. Okay, Ben. Hey, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Only one quarterback threw faster than McCarthy at the combine. And he was a former Wolverine. Oh, I know. Oh, you're saying like miles per hour. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking about Penix. Not Penix. Oh my gosh. Not Penix. Dude from Tennessee. I can't think of his name. Milton. Milton had a monster arm. Anyway, here was my take. So, Apocalypse Now. All right, so that's the movie recommendation. That's an old movie, right? I've heard that movie before. Apocalypse Now. Actually, that sounds like something down my alley. I'm trying to go see Maxine this weekend. I also want to see Twisters too. But I want to go see Maxine this weekend. Comes out near me this weekend, so I want to go see that. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, I've never seen this, but it's got some reviews now. They love this thing. Okay. So I shouldn't have watched it, I'm be honest. Best football movie, Remember the Titans is mine. That's your bold take. That's your spicy take. I'm not mad at that. I can remember watching Remember the Titans in school, man. That was like that was the thing. All right. I watched what's the Varsity Blues? I like that. That was good. I also really like the remake. I know I'm young, okay? I like the Adam Sandler, what's it called? Not Waterboy, but Longest Yard. Adam Sandler, Longest Yard's my favorite football movie, probably. There's a lot of good ones. That's my favorite one. I know. All right, I'm cheating. I should pick the original or something. That's my favorite. That's one I like the most. The Beekeeper is on Prime. My dad just told me about The Beekeeper. He's like, it's very action heavy. All right. Original Brian song. That's a movie? All right, I got to look this up. Hold up. I got to see what you... Hold on, that is a movie. Brian song. Oh, it's a football movie. Gale Sayers, teammates. Oh, okay. Hey, let me see. Doesn't sound like a football movie, but it is. I got you. Okay. I watched what was it, 42 a couple weeks ago. I've already seen it. It was on YouTube, so if you know, it's a good movie. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is a fun one. All right, you know Jordy has heat. You know Jordy's got some heat. Let me see. Lock, Stock. See, y'all hit me with these 70s movies. I don't know. No, this is not okay. No, this ain't that old. That's one movie. Okay, that was two movies. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Oh, Stat. Okay, see, I thought you sent me two movies for real. Okay. I've never heard of this. Bold take. Dune 2 is only okay. Don't tell Easy that. Easy loves that movie. I really like The Replacement with Reeves. That's on Netflix, I think. I think that's on Netflix. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, so yeah, I watched. I shouldn't have watched this. I watched, and I don't recommend this. Actually, I don't. Okay, I don't. I watched Martyrs. I watched Martyrs yesterday, right? Because I had started it, and I was like, all right, this is okay. It's kind of weird, but I've heard it's like really good. Like I saw, Jordan Peele, right, who did Us and Get Out. He put it like on his list, like he was ranking movies, and he had that in there. And I was like, all right, I've never seen that. That was disturbing, straight up. So I don't recommend it. If there's kids watching, don't watch it. All right. This is, kids don't watch this. It's not a kid's movie. But the ending, like, here's the thing. When a movie's like that, and I was like, I'm not going to get through this. But when the ending hit, and you're trying to sleep, but you're like, wait a minute. Hold up. What were they saying there? That's when you got something, bro. For me, that's when you got something. When I'm like, wait a minute, dog. And I'm laying there and I'm like, I'm taking notes in my phone because I'm like, wait, that actually is what I'm thinking now. And my mind's just racing. I can't fall asleep. That's what that movie did for me. And this is so random. Here was my take, right? We're doing it though. Here's my take. The end of the movie, spoiler. So, you know, I'm going to try not to spoil it, but spoiler. The end of the movie, here's my theory. Spoilers. I think that at the end of the movie, when they talk to her, right? I think that what happened was, hold up, what did I write down here? Because I may have been half asleep. This may not make any sense. Also, hey, random thing. Y'all ever have a dream of a movie? Like the dream is a movie? Like you're in the movie? I've had dreams that I've had like multiple times. I say for sure this dream I've had before. But like this time I had the same dream again. And I was like dreaming it as a movie. And I was in the movie. And it was the same thing I've already done. But this time I could control it. It was so weird that I was like, let me try to change the ending. So I just did different things. Bro, that was nuts. Okay. That's so, I was like, what is happening? That was wild. We'll take E.T. was left behind on purpose for cross-dressing in kids' clothes. Prove me wrong. E.T. was left behind on purpose for cross-dressing in kids' clothes? Hey, I've seen E.T. and I don't know what you're talking about. Wait. I don't know what you're talking about. Hold up. It's been too long. So you're saying E.T. was left behind on purpose for cross-dressing in kids' clothes. Okay, I gotta rewatch E.T. because I don't know what you're talking about necessarily, but I do remember E.T. E.T. was cool. E.T. was cool. Whenever I want to feel good, I just watch Replacements or Necessary Roughness. Okay, so you and whoever else said that would you know, you guys are, or maybe you were the one that said that. You know, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna say about this movie because I think if I say it, I'm gonna spoil it. I don't recommend it necessarily. But if you're like into stuff, you know, and you're like cool with it and you just like want to think a little bit, I would say look it up. Not a kid's movie. Maybe check it out. And if I post a review, I'm going to do this on the other channel. I don't want to do this here. I want to do this here because it won't make sense. I'm going to do it on the other channel. I've been like 15 Freddy movies in my dreams. See, now that's actually kind of crazy. That's a little bit scary, to be honest. Unless you're talking about like the Freddy, like the Disney guy, or whatever it was. No, bro, like, no, this wasn't like a real movie though. Like this was like a made up movie. And I think it was made up because I already had the dream before, but my brain was like, yo, this is actually a movie. So I was like, think about that. If you had one dream, right? And you had that exact same dream again, like I think we've all probably had that. We've had the exact same dream twice. But the second time you have it, it's like, okay, now it's a movie. And you're in the movie. So you're not just seeing this happen. Now you're in it. And I'm like aware that I'm in the movie. So I'm trying to change the outcome. Crazy. And I don't know. The movie was goofy, bro. Airplane's good. Jordy, I like Airplane. I've seen that. Best dad joke movie ever. Yeah, that one does not stop either. That one just continues the whole time. They just like hitting you with them all the time. Anyway, I'm going to end here, man. I appreciate y'all joining. Comment below. We'll check them out next live stream. And hopefully we get Rad on soon, man. We thought maybe today didn't happen. That's fine. We went through Colby Sorsdal, showed a ton of clips, watched some film, and then we ranked the quarterbacks. If you just skip to the end, you'll get to see the ending of the rankings. But don't do that. Watch the whole thing. Well, you don't have to. There's actually a lot of struggle in there. Nope. Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, yeah, that's that's what I thought you were talking about. Dog, honestly, so I've said two of the movies. The first one was good. I didn't like the ending, but it was good. Second one, I think I watched the second one next, and I was like, I did not like this. I did not really care for it. But I think it's just different. It's like it's at a spot where it's like if you didn't see it around when it came out, I think it's a little bit different now. But I liked the first one. I obviously didn't see that around when it came out. I watched that one still pretty recently. Shane Smith, Morning. Okay, I see you. Apocalypse Now is long. I'm not even mad at that. I'm cool with a long movie. I'm not mad with a long movie. Yeah, if I'm engaged, I'm down with that. And it makes sense, right? It says it's a war movie, so that makes sense. All right, appreciate y'all joining. Have a great rest of your weekend. And yeah, replay the video or leave a comment as soon as it ends. And I will see y'all soon. Also, Marcus Davenport video is out. Check it out. Oh, real quick. No. Let me do this. I'm sorry. I want to do this real quick. I posted, and we're going to have some news coming soon. I don't want to talk about what that would be, but we have some news coming soon. But I posted this on the community tab, and you may have seen it, you may have not. It's cool. And I don't know. Maybe it was already used. Maybe. Let me see. But I posted on the community tab, and this might still be a thing. It might not. It just depends on if any of you used it. I posted massive news. Next 2 orders using code DOSE2024 gets 40% off at the LNU store. And then I showed pictures of my 2 new merch items over there. Probably going to have a lot more merch coming over there soon. That might still be a thing. You can try it. I mean, you can, if you don't want to more order because it's gone, someone has already used it, that's cool. But there was 2 orders that I had that had 40% off discount codes, which takes off a massive percent of the price. So if you want any kind of merch on there, you know, I got my 2 things on there. Cool. I got a letter jack coming in. I got we got a sweatshirt. But if you want anything on there, try the code. If it doesn't work, you know, you can always back out. But try the code. If you want to get something, you get a huge percent off. I just threw that out there. Like, I had 4 of them, and I was like, yo, what if I just use 2? Can I post the other 2 and just let people use them? And if people want to buy something, they get 40% off. And they're like, yeah, we're down with that. You can send them the code. So I was like, I'm just going to post it. Whoever wants it, it's up there. Once it's gone, it's gone. But until someone buys something with it, it should be active. So that use that code and you can get 40% off, which is massive. Do you think next week with Easy, I want to hear both of your takes on rookies? I'll reach out to him. I'm down with that. I'll reach out to him. I love that Easy back on. Sounds like he wants to get back on too. So let's do it. Yeah, no, I'm down with that. I want to have Easy back on too. We'll make that happen. That'll be the goal. All right. Appreciate y'all watching. We out.